on to it and shoot for the sky.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You're listening to myself, Jesse Henrik, Eddie Wade, TSW Tag Team Champion, Mr. RPD Tyreek Ramsey, Joey Hudson, the RPD Prophecy Champion, Austin Cochran, our special guest, Joe Monroe, and our special guest, Austin Michaels. Now, the reason that we have Austin Michaels here is he's very special right now because he has more history with the person who is receiving our Hall of Fame induction than any other person in this room. Throughout their storied career, I just think it makes the most sense to have him here. And so we're going to start off. Usually we'd wait till the end, but in respect for Mr. Michael's time, because he's a busy man running the Brotherhood Army, we're going to go ahead and start things off with our Hall of Fame induction.
Today, a very special award presented to a very special man to the wrestling business. That's right, the man that turned me from this little kid up there to the man I am today. Please present this, the Ring Post Daily Hall of Fame Award, to you, A1 since day one, the General of the Brotherhood Army, Austin Michaels. And let me be the first to say, there is no one, and I mean no one, who deserves it more. So, if that being said, Thank you, Austin, for your contributions to the wrestling business, and personally, thank you for the contributions to my career.
Well, what can I say about Mr. A1 since day one, Austin Michaels? The man is a TSW legend, probably the greatest mind in the business today. He is the best leader possible for the Brotherhood, and it is such an honor to be able to be not only in the same group as him, but to learn from him. Austin, you deserve this Hall of Fame induction, and we are so happy to have you in the history books of Ring Post Daily. You are the man, you are the leader, and you are the genius behind the Brotherhood and TSW and everything involved. You are the man, and don't you forget it. Woo!
You know, what can you say about a man named Austin Michaels that hasn't already been said? So, coming from the Master Sergeant, and maybe I'm not using my normal Master Sergeant voice, but coming to you as the man behind the Master Sergeant, when you think about Austin Michaels, he's not just a character in TSW and really all over outside of just being at TSW. He's a mentor, he's a friend, and he's definitely a brother. And realistically, when you think about Austin Michaels, the Master Sergeant character and the Master Sergeant isn't really possible without Austin Michaels. I mean, he's, to me personally, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that can say this too, is that he helped mold me into where I'm at right now. Like there's a lot of people that have helped, but there's only one constant, and that's Austin Michaels. And so, no matter what anybody says, or no matter what anybody wants to say about Austin Michaels, the only thing they should be saying is thank you. Because that man has done so much in just the short time that I've been wrestling, and I know he's done plenty more in his own career without even thinking about the Master Sergeant, or without me even coming into fruition where I'm at today. Austin Michaels himself has deserved every accolade that he's ever achieved and obtained. And so, coming from me, I just want to say that Austin Michaels, you are more than just appreciated. I love you, brother, and I thank you for everything that you've ever done for me and for everything that you've done in this crazy business that we call wrestling.
We did want Mike Murphy on the video. Unfortunately, due to a bout of strep throat, he was unable to make his video. However, I do have what he wanted to say to you here with me. So I speak with his voice and his words right now when I say, despite our differences...
Now I'm ready.
What's that? You ready? Okay. Despite our differences, we actually may have a lot in common. It all boils down to the respect, loyalty, and consistency and tradition. Austin has made a huge impact in TSW as well as Ring Post Daily. He's got a mind for the business like none other. We may not get along, but I'll give credit where credit is due. As bad as I hate to say this, but Austin Michaels actually fits all the requirements for this and deserves the honor of this induction. Also, this is such an irony that he is my greatest rival, and now we share the only 2 spots in the RPD Hall of Fame. Wrestling is such a great yet unpredictable sport. You never know what paths you're going to cross or where you'll find yourself in. So that's from the heart from Mike Murphy.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. You know what that is? That's just Mike Murphy fronting is all that is. He's just afraid that I'm going to come to TSW and throat punch him. He ain't got strep throat. He's got a fist down his throat that we shoved down it last Saturday. That's his problem. Now he's all whatever.
It'd be worse if we had to hear Mike Murphy on here talking, but the fact that we had to hear Jesse talk for him, we couldn't win for losing here. You either get Jesse or Mike. I mean,
let me go ahead and just say this.
Smooth voice.
Let me go ahead and just say this. To a better guy, this couldn't have happened.
Now you do.
We feel the same way.
You know, Mike says he deserves it as much as him, but why wasn't, let me ask the real questions here. Why wasn't Austin Michaels the first Hall of Famer in this podcast? Why did he have to wait to be number 2, Jesse? Why wasn't he the number 1?
Digging deep now.
Number 1. Number 1, Jesse. Since there is A1 since day 1.
All right. Well,
there is only one idol in this profession that we call wrestling, Jesse. Only one idol. Not 5, not 10, not 15. 1.
And there's only one general in the Hall of Fame.
And that's all there ever be. There's only one general that wins every war, every month, every day, every week. And that's the idol Austin Michaels.
You're putting Austin Michaels in a Hall of Fame with other people when the truth is he deserves his own class, his own wing. Okay? This is a man who
2 wings.
Deserves it all.
The 2 wings.
All right.
I love it.
Well,
he ain't talking chicken wings.
Well, we can talk about what happened last year all we want, but I want to talk about what's happened this year. Of course, giving you this induction, I want to hear from you what it means to you, Austin. Whether that's, as the general or as the man.
Listen,
if you had anything to say, now's your time.
Any time you get a selection from your peers, well, of course, it means the world to you. It means you've showed that you've earned the respect of everybody in this business. Outside of that, again, to a better man, it couldn't happen. But again, you want to have the respect of your peers. You want to have the respect of the fans. You want to have the respect, and you want to put the respect back into the business just as it's given you. That's what a Hall of Fame means to me.
Fair enough. Well, as I mentioned before, this was essentially your induction into the RPD Hall of Fame, but you will have your commencement ceremony, if you will. You will receive your award on January 4th's show as Mr. Eddie Wade and Joey Hudson present it to you as our ambassadors to the Brotherhood.
I think starting on January for like the next shows that we do, we should all have to say one nice thing about Austin Michaels for the whole year, every episode. That's how I feel about it.
I love it. I will tell you this. I'll go ahead and tell you this. The way my phone is set up, I can see Mr. Wade, I can see Mr. Cochran, I can see Joey, I can see you, Jesse, I can see the man in the bottom left, but my camera, my picture, my face is covering that stinking Joe Monroe.
God.
Well, what good fortune. Joe, is there anything you have to say about our inductee, since we have you?
It's nice to know that he got his hair plugs changed recently. You can't tell nowadays.
All right. I'm going to save this and tell you how it is. Usually I'm telling people to appreciate me, appreciate the Brotherhood, but I think on this special day, it is only fair and right to say appreciate Austin Michaels.
I couldn't agree more.
I appreciate you, Austin Michaels.
Listen, I appreciate you boys, and that includes you too, Monroe, I guess, putting in the work and dedication that it takes to be in this sport that we call wrestling, because I'm going to tell you boys, It's not an easy job being an Austin Michaels. It's not an easy job being an Eddie Wade. It's not even an easy job being a Joey Hudson. I'm on Joey quite a bit. I beat him up quite a bit. It's not even, even a Joe Monroe. I'm proud of all you guys for busting your humps out there, boys, and wanting to learn this business. We need more guys like you.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate the
think it's
kind
gonna be a
words.
shame when the day. I think it's gonna be a shame the day you one day hang the boots up, because there is so much you could teach all the young bucks coming in, and even the people that's been there for a while. Like, you have so much knowledge that you could teach people that I don't think people within TSW or wrestling in general realize that when Austin Michaels leaves one day and it's done, there's going to be an empty spot there. There's going to be that little bit of knowledge that you wish you would have asked the questions. You wish you would have learned when he was there, because now it's too late.
Well,
There's gonna be a time where people appreciate Austin Michaels, and to me, it's just sad that those people won't appreciate him until he walks off and signs off for good and says he's done. That's
why we
get that,
appreciate
but-
him now.
well, listen here, gentlemen. My phone is open anytime, any day of the week, whether Austin's there or not. You can get up under this learning tree anytime you want to. That's for sure. My door's always open. My phone is always open.
Well, we appreciate that, sir. Any parting thoughts?
2025, boys. Here we're getting ready to roll in. The Brotherhood Army is steaming and beaming. We're getting ready to take this thing to another level, another height. Now a Hall of Famer in the A1 since day one, right there in the midst of this Brotherhood Army and this war on TSW. And boys, when I tell you we're getting ready to set it on fire, we're going to set trails that are going to blaze for the next 25.
Oh, I can't wait either. It's such a pleasure being with my boy Eddie, and it's even more of a pleasure getting to be beside Eddie in this group and just enjoy the ride and see Austin Michaels do his thing. When I'm out there with the Brotherhood and I'm out there right beside Austin and I'm seeing him do his thing, y'all see the videos, y'all see the recordings, but there is nothing like seeing Austin Michaels live in person, getting in someone's face, telling them
Absolutely.
that they're nothing, that they're trash.
And speaking of seeing Austin Michaels in person, January 4th, Eddie, where are you guys at again? Tell us about it.
I believe we are at DeWitt Elementary. Showtime starts at 6, but if you want to get some training beforehand, we usually meet around 8 a.m. to get that started. So, yeah, anybody who's wanting to come train, learn the business, open doors, but showtime at 6, and the war wages on.
Eddie would
Awesome.
know about that training. He's at every class every morning.
To celebrate the End Year Awards, anybody who listens to this podcast, if you go up to Joey on the show and you mention RPD End Year Awards, you get one free chop to the chest. But you got to mention our RPD End Year Awards. You get one free chop. January 4th.
What is in your pipe today?
All right.
Hey,
Well,
gentlemen,
that will do it for
I want to say one more thing before we jump off here. Speaking of 2025 trailblazing, your idol, Austin Michaels, will be back in the ring in 2025.
All right.
Poor ring.
Love to hear it.
That's like an early Christmas gift for me.
Yes,
Holy
right.
crap. That's a Christmas gift to me.
Yeah, it's a Christmas miracle.
Oh my God, yeah. I love seeing the guy in person doing his thing. Now being able to be out there at ringside and watch the guy kick some butt. And I hope Joe Monroe's particularly, raise a glass and a toast to that. Woo! You gotta love it. Gets my blood
All
boiling.
right.
I'm diabetic.
Again.
I gotta watch out there.
Gentlemen, absolutely honored to accept this award, and again, to a greater man, it couldn't happen. But I would like to go ahead and Eddie Wade, you are the future of this business, young man. You keep at it. Joe Monroe, you too, punk. Keep at it. Don't give up, guys. Don't give up on this business. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have so much gold on your waist, Eddie Wade, you're going to have to gain weight just to hold it up.
Not as much as Joe, but a little bit.
All right. Well, that will do it for our Hall of Fame segment. Thank you very much, Mr. Michaels. And
No,
again,
thank you all.
I can't wait to see the ceremony.
We appreciate you.
I can't wait
Thank
to
you
see
very
the ceremony.
much.
Well, thank you. You have a good night, sir. And
You
happy
do the same.
holidays.
I love you, Austin Michaels.
See you on the 4th, boys.
See you on the 4th, General.
See you on the flip side.
All right.
Bye, Felicia.
All right. So that takes care of our Hall of Fame induction. Now to get to the meat and potatoes. Your first category. Women's Wrestler of the End Year. Rhea Ripley's Austin's pick. Toni Storm is mine. Rhea Ripley is Joe Monroe's. Women's Wrestlers Liv Morgan, Eddie's. Rhea Ripley again for Joey. And Nia Jax for Ty.
Bruh.
Stop.
Stop.
It's not stopping. There.
You should.
All right. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties, little hiccup. So I'll start things off with Toni Storm, PWI 5, or I believe it's 250 for the women. Number one wrestler. What can you say about Toni Storm? I mean, she's had a generational year. She took everything from the timeless gimmick. Took a gimmick that honestly, if anybody else had, would not have worked, but she made it her own, and she just fucking killed it all year. Killed it with every match she had. She went from AEW to New Japan to CMLL. She traveled the world with that title, and now she's traveled again. Now she's finally come back after a stint going with Stardom and CMLL. And now she's back, and she's back to the rock star, Toni Storm. And she's got a little bit of amnesia, but I think she's just going to kill this gimmick too because she's just so damn good. Go ahead, Eddie. Why don't you tell us about your nomination?
So the reason that I went with Liv Morgan over both Rhea and Toni, which were my other two nominations, like who I was thinking about, was because of how much she's been featured and just the way that I wish they would have booked her a little better so it would make this argument not seem as much of a stretch. But I feel like since SummerSlam, she's been consistently on TV doing things with Dom and the Judgment Day. And realistically, I could see why any of the other women did get it. But in my opinion, I think what she's been doing on Raw would have, like, with all that, would be for personally for me, that would be why. Just personally.
Austin, tell me about Rhea Ripley.
I mean, she's she's been all over the place. Just absolutely putting on amazing performances and carrying on a lot of great shows. It was a toss-up between her and Liv for me, and for me it was undeniable. That was my pick.
Fair enough. Joey, you tell us about Rhea Ripley.
Well, I picked her because ever since I remember the nights she joined Judgment Day with Edge. Since then, I think it was like Backlash in France too. I might be wrong. It was Backlash, I think. But ever since that day she joined with Edge and removed that hoodie, it's just been getting better. She's just every week she's like a bigger star than she was last week, and I really hope that. I mean, as much as I like Liv as champion and stuff, eh, I really think they're gonna kick off Raw on Netflix with her taking that title, and only
I
rightfully
think that's
so.
very possible.
She I think right now she's already a future WWE Hall of Famer, and I say that because uh, kind of like how nowadays we say, oh, well, China was a legend and this girl was a legend. One day we'll be talking about, oh, well, who was the most dominant female wrestler? And 20 years from now, Rhea Ripley is going to be right in that conversation. So this year she's killed it. And to me, I couldn't pick anyone but her.
Fair enough. Ty, tell us about Nia Jax, because I have a hard time believing this one. That elimination no, listen. That elimination chamber was dog water.
Wait, so we talking about the full year? We talking about elimination?
No,
chamber?
we're talking. Well, not elimination chamber. War games is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. I was
Well, the elimination chamber, yeah, she stunk Rhea Ripley out of the building with the elimination chamber match, but that was in the half year, so we won't talk about that.
Half year, she became queen, and then that led her to build a momentum to the championship. And I think that, like, yes, I believe her championship reign could be a little better, but I think come off as that dominant champion and stay champion. And even though it's like could have been better in this early half, if she holds the title longer, I think it could build up more steam to where she's a even more dominant champ. But just looking at the fact she became queen, she became champ, she's been having this memorable, just storyline with Tiffy and Bailey. Well, Bailey's kind of out, but you guys know what I mean. She's been just with Tiffy, and that's kind of why I chose. And like I said, you guys have great choices, but I think there was just little nitpicks in the rest of the women that I kind of, was the reason why I went with her.
I mean, kind of.
You.
All right. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with it, but I'll accept your judgment.
For the culture.
And then, Joe Monroe, tell us about Rhea Ripley. Tell us your version of the story.
I mean, it's Rhea Bloody Ripley, for crying out loud.
It is Rhea Bloody Ripley.
I mean, come on. You can't get any better than that. Honestly, no offense to Toni Storm, because I'm a big timeless Toni Storm fan. Rhea Ripley's just got it just a notch above her. Because, I hate to say this, and I never thought I'd say this out of my mouth, I kind of agree with Joey. Look at the momentum she's had. She's
just
had
where my thing was where she was injured so much this year.
Yeah, well, not only that, but also
even with her injured,
and she still has the star power. I'm not going to deny that. Power.
When she came back, especially at but Survivor Series War Games, come on.
Yeah, and see, I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I feel like this Liv Morgan feud, even though it was the right feud, I feel like Rhea's lost a little bit of aura.
She has, and it could be due to them not gelling well together. That happens in wrestling. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. But
it's kind of like the Stone Cold Undertaker effect, right? Where two great people, but they have negative chemistry.
Yeah, two great people, but the chemistry's just not there per se. Going up against something like Austin and Rock.
But now it's ending. I sense and she's becoming champion. So it's like now she's gonna have another reign, and it's gonna lead into something else.
They just need to move on from the Dominant Mysterio stuff. Yeah. I think Dom should just do what Eddie did at this point and just move on by himself, and let's just see his in-ring work catch up. He's got this,
or just get the title off her and let her and Dom do their thing, because the title has really suffered. That's the real casualty on this.
Yeah, it's like
Rhea built that title from the ground up, and then ever since Liv got a hold of it, it's just kind of going downhill.
I think that's what I was saying in the other episode. It's like Liv's built herself up to the point where she doesn't need the title, and it feels like it's just on her, and she could be doing the stuff that she's done without the title.
No offense. I mean, we can also say that with Nia Jax and the WWE Women's Championship too.
Fair.
Absolutely.
The only way I want to see the whole Nia, or not the whole Nia, the whole Rhea and Dominic thing end,
the whole Nia,
as if I don't know, if somehow at WrestleMania it's somehow Rhea versus Dominic, and you can't hit a woman, so he goes the clothesliner, hit her, misses, and she just beats the crap out of him and ends it at Mania. At most, I think their storyline deserves that type of farewell ending. But yeah, it does need to come to an end. Like, I think because of Rhea and Dominic's thing that lasted so long, now I think WWE's thinking like, well, how do we go a different direction with Rhea without Dominic in the picture? Like, you're gonna have to do it at some point. Just end it.
Right.
Joey, what the hell are you looking at? Is your boom mic like up there? Because you keep looking up every time you talk, like I am right now.
Who?
Joey.
Me?
Yeah, you. Just
No, I'm
next
looking
time
at
you
my
talk,
camera.
just watch. Just watch. Just trust me. Just watch.
Okay. Well, next category. All right, WWE MVP of the end year. Cody Rhodes, Eddie's nomination. Seth Rollins is Austin's. Rhea Ripley for me. That's where Mommy comes in. R-Truth for Joe Monroe. Roman Reigns for Joey, drinking that Tribal Chief bathwater.
I thought it was Austin Michaels.
And Jey Uso for Ty.
Yeet.
Yeet. All right. So here's where I came in with Rhea Ripley, because I feel like even though I feel like she lost a little bit of aura with the Liv feud, I don't think that there's anybody who's more synonymous right now with WWE programming who people want more than Rhea Ripley. Like, she even eclipses people like Cody and Punk, and just it's nuts. The amount of aura that she exudes and charisma. She's just done so much for WWE that she is quite literally the most valuable player. But Eddie, tell us about your nomination.
Well, ever since, which I know we're doing the half year, but since Mania, Cody is like at every event, he's going, shaking every hand, kissing every baby, so to speak, and just doing the whole white meat baby face thing, which is something that's been missing. Like, they tried it with Roman back in the day, but it didn't gel well. But now they've got someone who can get an actual response from the audience, like a positive response. And he's leaned into it, and I think with that, and just like they think of the "We Want Cody" movement from last year. Like, I know that's not really relevant to this, but it was a factor, like, that the crowd interest stayed pretty consistent throughout the whole half year with him. So that's why I would give him the MVP.
Fair enough.
You know, Cody better get out there and shake hands and kiss, or shake babies and kiss hands, because we wanted Roman and Rock. A lot of us wanted Roman and Rock. Cody had to go and walk off on SmackDown, all with that sad puppy dog look. Cody had to get his way. Cody had to go and change the outcome. Like, I mean, all these Cody crybabies helped
We'll
him.
get
So
to
he
you,
better be
Joey
shaking their hands.
Crybaby. We'll get to you, Joey
He
Crybaby.
better be shaking hands.
Austin, tell us about Seth Rollins. Why did you feel like he deserved this over the last 6 months?
Just overall, kind of been a little bit of an unsung workhorse. Just putting in a lot of really good work. Just not always at the forefront of everything. I felt like it was right that it be recognized.
All right, that's a fair enough as any.
I'd give him the
Joey,
WrestleMania
come on,
MVP.
give us. Yeah. All right, Joey, give us the glaze. Let's pour some water. Tell us about the Tribal Chief.
Okay, look, Roman, not only, people said, oh, we want Roman to lose the title. And the man spoke the truth. He even said that when he loses that title, you're going to want him back. When he leaves, you're going to want him back. You're going to wish he was champion. And now Cody's out here kissing babies and shaking hands and crap. But there's a lot of people that say Cody's not pulling the weight. That this ain't been. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that this isn't the perfect reaction that they expected. Roman told us, when I lose this title, you're going to wish I was still champion. You're going to wish I was still here. And after he lost it at Mania, the Cody thing, it's cool. It's all right. But there are people that are sick of it, and they're like, "This ain't what what I was promised. This ain't what I wanted." There are people that actually wish that the Roman title reign that lasted so long never ended. And now Roman goes from the guy you want the title taken off of to coming back at SummerSlam, getting the biggest pop, most views on Instagram, all this stuff. Uh, Roman literally preached the word, came back, and is now finally the babyface, the loved babyface that a lot of people hated in the beginning when he first did this. So Roman was able to do that whole unstoppable bad guy thing for so long, and now he's coming back and climbing up the rankings to get his Ulafalo back, his Tribal Chief uh, title back, and maybe even his WWE title back. But he's just ever since he came back, it's like I don't know. It's like Tribal Chief 2.0. You had the bad guy Tribal Chief version. Now he's giving us the good
I
Tribal
see
Chief
what Joe's
version.
talking about now.
I mean, what?
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw what you were talking about. This whole rant he's been going like this.
But now I'm just saying Roman has just literally done like a 360 on what we were seeing a year ago. And now we're about to kick off Raw on Netflix, and everyone's looking at this Liv match, Gunther match, all these matches and all these appearances. But it it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm even betting money that I would bet money that Roman and Solo's match steals the show. That will be a big reason why people tune in on that first episode to see that tribal combat for that Ulafala. So
All right.
Roman's just earned it.
All right, Punky Brewster, you've had your time. RPD, Mr.
Don't
RPD, I
rush
should
me.
say. Tyreek Ramsey, lay it on us. Talk about Jey Uso.
Yeah, he said he lost. We wanted him back and wanted him as champion. I wanted him back. Do not want to see him with the championship anytime soon, though. So yeah, but Jey Uso, man, I was pretty sure he was my MVP for the half year awards. It's just who don't love Jey Uso. He's been selling merch like crazy. Every time he comes out, people look forward to seeing him, seeing his entrance. I was bummed because that last Raw that I went to with where Jay and Sammy came to break up Punk and Seth. It was crazy because as soon as they came out, all you hear from the crowd is yeets. Like he didn't even they're Punk and Seth were screaming about that, but you just hear yeet, yeet, yeet just coming from the crowd, and it's just crazy. Like the half year he's had this year and the entire year as a whole. I mean, I got chills when he came out to Roman and his music stops. They keep singing his song. Jey Uso, to me, is the MVP, most valuable, and who don't love Jey Uso?
All right. Joe Monroe, you got some splaining to do, Lucy.
I love while I'm going to
Talk about our truth, because you got to talk about the last 6 months. Why did he deserve this prestigious award coming from you, our special guest?
Because our truth has always been in the shadows, and when he comes out of the shadows, it's always memorable. Am I wrong? No. So undeniably, he should be your undeniable MVP because our truth is just freaking amazing all the way around. But I will have to agree with Ty. I have to agree. Jey Uso, that was a very, very good pick. Very good pick. But our truth,
I like your pick. I like your truth pick.
Our truth, I mean, come on. He's the unspoken MVP. He finally apologized to Damien about kicking him out of the Judgment Day.
He did.
And among other things, he's had that pretty good feud with The Miz, and it small, but it was good. And that's what makes R-Truth the undeniable, unspoken I-75, 75-time 24/7 7-Eleven champion for
And
have
MVP of the half
yeah.
year RPD.
All
We
right.
have we have all these like comedic wrestlers like Santino Marella and The Rock and stuff, but I honestly feel like R-Truth has topped even The Rock and as like the funniest wrestler in the world. I mean, The Rock was funny and had his moments, but R-Truth, I think, is just one of them guys that you could be backstage talking to, and he say something, and Triple H be like, "That's funny as hell. That's going in the storyline tonight." Like, I feel like R-Truth would just be a treat to be around.
All right. Well, next up, greatest feud of the year. Punk and McIntyre's ties.
Oh,
Solo and Roman is Joey's. Solo and Roman is also Joe Monroe's. Punk and McIntyre is Jesse's, mine. And Bloodline versus Bloodline is Eddie's.
I'll take it, Roman Solo.
And lastly, Punk and McIntyre is Austin's. So we got a 50-50 split. Punk and McIntyre, or technically Bloodline versus Bloodline, or Solo versus Roman, however way you want to split it.
It's funny that it's divided because like they were so good storylines this whole year, like they kind of both deserve it, and it's kind of just ironic that they share the honor 50-50 here.
Absolutely. I'll start off. What to say about Punk and McIntyre? It was a year-long feud that for the first 6 months they didn't even touch each other. I mean, it was the hottest thing in in Raw, or on Raw, I should say. And then once they started getting going, they had the strap match. They had of course, the amazing Hell in a Cell match. I can't remember what the other stipulation was.
Seth was
Special referee Seth Rollins.
Seth is the special referee for the third match, or for the second match. I mean, it was all just so good. Every match they put on. And then, of course, the Hell in a Cell, that was a 5-star match. That's the first legitimate 5-star match that WWE has really gotten since, I would say, WrestleMania. And even then, WrestleMania's, with Cody's match, that was a 5-star match for very different reasons than Punk and McIntyre was. Punk and McIntyre was for, the actual match, whereas Cody Roman, that was more for the grandeur, the spectacular of it all.
I mean, it is kind of crazy that bracelet was so heavily worth watching, fight over. Like, some people would say that WWE made that bracelet mean more than AEW does their titles. Hell, I'll go on and say that the bracelet meant more than the tag titles did at that same time. You have all these tag titles with amazing history, this bracelet that was just made like less than 6 or 8 months ago, and no one cares about watching the tag title matches. But then here they are fighting over a bracelet, and everyone's like, "Oh, you better order the pizza. You better get the drink out because this is a match worth watching. It's for a bracelet."
All right. Well, Eddie, tell us about your nomination.
So I was very split between the two feuds that we all picked between. The only reason not the only reason, but the main reason I chose the Bloodline is because we already had 6 months of history starting up with the Punk and Drew McIntyre feud. So whereas with this one, we've got to see it play out beat by beat as far as like Bloodline versus Bloodline.
All right.
And by extension, Roman versus Solo.
War Games is really good.
Yeah. Austin, tell us about your nomination.
Like a lot of you guys say, this one had me very well split as well. Awesome work on both ends. And I just, I don't know. I got really just wrapped up in the feud and everything going on between, between Punk and McIntyre. That's the one that sold me the most.
All right. Joey, I have a feeling I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead and hit us
Well,
with
give me a chance to say it.
it. I am.
I will say that, like, even before WrestleMania, I saw this coming, especially in one of the segments where it was Rock and Rock, Heyman, Roman, and Solo backstage, and Rock was like, "Yeah, he's ready," and Roman's like, "Yeah, I know, right?" Like that right there should have been an indicator, like Roman and Solo is coming, but no, I guess it's good for Solo that he gets in that main event picture. I mean, thanks to Roman, losing, stepping down, and letting Solo take over a bit, it's put Solo in the main event where he's challenged Cody for titles. He's main eventing SmackDowns and pay-per-views, and it's just really nice. It's a real good storyline to watch. Roman was a tribal chief. Solo wants to be that guy, but he isn't that guy, and Roman's coming back for it. And like I said, on January 6th, Raw live on Netflix, it is going to be a banger of a match. Something tells me in my gut that Roman's not walking away with the win. I hope he does. Something tells me that Rock or someone's going to help Solo because Rock will be there. But I really think that if Roman's going to go to WrestleMania and do anything but a title match, he needs to go to Royal Rumble, get screwed over by Solo, go to WrestleMania, and finally beat Solo for that Ulafala at Mania. That would be like the cherry on top of this whole storyline. But it's just been a banger of a storyline. I mean, one of the best, if not the best of the year. And that's why it's literally 50-50 draw here on this episode.
Fair enough. Tyreek, tell us about it.
I just, been captivated for, the whole year with this feud with Drew and Punk. The true definition of a blood feud, like all these things that led to it, with Drew getting screwed over by Punk with the world title over and over, and Punk telling him, as long as there's air in my lungs, you will never be world champion. Then of course Drew in his hometown beating the hell out of CM Punk, taking the bracelet, and where that story went, and then just to have their final match. They had 3 matches. To have all 3 matches pay off, because you could have a good feud and everything, but then end up the matches not being that great. But the way they involved Seth with the whole thing, the first match, going into the second match, and then of course just what can't be said about their Hell in a Cell match with plus adding a little touch of storytelling when he had the beads and everything. It all just paid off, and it was my favorite feud. And like you guys said, it's like the Bloodline feud. It's also up there because that you had debuts, you had returns, you had people turning and coming back together, reunions, and of like the OG Bloodline and everything. But I go with Drew and Punk overall.
Fair enough. And Joe Monroe, tell us about it.
Honestly, it really was a tie between the two. But for me, it was basically kind of what Eddie said, the pacing of the feud. I want to say, to me, that Punk and Drew McIntyre, I know they didn't touch, but it lagged a little bit right there in the middle. Then it kind of sort of started picking back up, and to be honest with you, I wasn't into it towards the end. But the Bloodline thing between Roman and Solo, I've been interested in ever since, before Roman even came back. Because I'm like, okay, I'm invested. And that's what I look for in wrestling. I want to see a story that I can invest in. And it builds, and it keeps on building. The momentum is great. I don't know why Survivor Series went the way it did, because I think it kind of lacklustered the feud a little bit. But, I mean, I can't really judge WWE's bookings, so let's just see what happens on January 6th. Maybe it'll continue, and maybe they're just like, yeah, we've done it long enough, let's shut it down.
Fair enough. All right, next category. Greatest pay-per-view of the end year. SummerSlam was ties. Bad Blood was Joe Monroe's.
That was my second.
All In was mine. Crown Jewel was Austin's.
Oh, so far we all have different ones.
Wrestle Dream for Eddie.
Hey.
And SummerSlam for Joey. SummerSlam, the only one that had 2 votes. Everybody else was unique. I'll kick things off. All In was just chef's kiss of a show. You got the amazing match between Ospreay and MJF for that U.S. championship, really the international championship. You had Tony versus Mariah May. That was, I would say, the second best women's match of the year. If we're just talking like straight singles matches, I would say that was the second best. And then, of course, cherry on top, you had Bryan winning the title over Swerve. A star-making moment for Swerve, definitely. That, even though he lost, losing to Daniel Bryan, that is a capstone on that version of his career, which would propel him and will continue to propel him for decades into what he will do next. Because to say that, you stood toe to toe with Bryan and you got to have Bryan's last championship victory, that was just, it's awesome to see the Washington boys getting to do their thing.
Yeah, Washington.
Eddie, talk to us about your nomination.
It's kind of like how you said with Wrestle Dream. I felt like the card pretty much from beginning to end was solid. You had the final 2 matches win with Mark Briscoe retaining his title against Jericho, and then the match between Moxley and Danielson for the AEW World Title. I feel like those alone, along with the match with Takeshita and Ospreay. And Ricochet in that match as well. I just feel like it's hard to beat that card.
Fair enough.
That was sad. Ending was sad.
It's interesting that we have both the show that Bryan won the championship on and the show that he lost it on. Austin, tell us about it.
That's Crown Jewel. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought we saw some pretty good matches there. I also love the concept of having, top champs versus top champs.
Champion versus champ, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. So that's why that got my vote.
Fair enough. I do like that they have it around Survivor Series season too. Having that old concept. Joey, tell us about SummerSlam.
So it's not like any that I wasn't gonna think about picking any AEW pay-per-view events. The only difference is AEW seems to really go hard on pay-per-views and not so much the TV shows.
That's very valid.
WWE does deliver somewhat for the most part on their TV shows, and then hits it up with a banger pay-per-view. So when I look at SummerSlam, LA Knight finally got his title. I think finally got his title.
Yep.
I love SummerSlam for 2 reasons. One was obviously Roman Reigns returning, getting the biggest pop of the night, and then for me, another big part of it why I loved it was my guy Machine Gun Kelly was there, and I was like, dude, I knew they were in Cleveland, and I thought, okay, they got Logan Paul, they might get Jake Paul, I figured they'd get some people from Cleveland, Miz, Paul brothers, something, but when I saw MGK come out, I mean, I might have been like the only one to freak out about that because I love MGK. The only way I could have even topped my pick for this, like the only way this would have even made a bigger vote for me is if MGK would have been able to perform live. But no, it was a really good show all over. I think the one aspect it missed for me personally was John Cena being there. in some capacity. But no, seeing Roman come back was already a big vote for me. And then my boy MGK, all the title changes and title star making moments. SummerSlam was just a banger like it usually is.
All right, and Ty.
Similar reasons for why Joey said his. It's like I liked all the moments. I pretty much liked every match. There was a couple that were, maybe. I mean, like Braun versus Sammy. That it was kind of short to me. I wish it would have went a little bit longer, but it is what it is.
It was short.
Also, I think I'm just like salty about Priest not winning because I like Priest, but looking at it now, it was the right choice. To be honest, I got to be honest, and to be honest, watching that match, that like Priest, me and my brother both agree. I think I said this before. He just proved himself to me as like that like main eventer because he like took it to Gunther in my opinion like no other because like Sammy beat Gunther this year and so did Cody, but even like Gunter wasn't dominated by Sam or Cody, but I feel like watch that match back. Priest really had it for him. Plus, of course, the OTC returning. It's like something we're building up to for months with the Roman Reigns chants every single week, and like Joey said, the different title changes because of course, Nia Jax won the title after and so Gunter. Did Braun win the title there? No, he didn't win the title. Was it just a rematch against Sammy? Did he win the title?
Braun won the title.
Yeah,
at
SummerSlam,
SummerSlam.
That's right. That's right. But and plus like, the turns. Like I said, I think the main reason I'm mad about the Priest thing is because of fucking Finn. Finn pissed me off that day. So did Dom. I love the beginning of that show with Rhea and Liv and Dom completely turning and everything. It pissed me off. But when Finn and Dom did that, man, I was just sitting there with Michael Cole cussing at my TV.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't believe what I was.
Pieces.
Yes, like asshole. What the fuck is wrong with you? So that's why I think it was the most consistent. Second and third is Bad Blood and Wrestle Dream. But
Plus,
yeah,
you gotta think we got to see Jelly Roll deliver a choke slam and a
Yes.
5 knuckle shuffle. If that's not entertaining to you, then I'm sorry, but you don't like wrestling.
Jelly Roll gave Austin Theory.
All right, and Joe Monroe, tell us about Bad Blood.
Yeah, Bad Blood, I think, and I said it when I watched it, I'm like, this is going to be one of the most overlooked pay-per-views this year. And to me, it was. Still is. All In was very, very close, and you guys had a missed opportunity to mention the greatest part of that pay-per-view. During that Battle Royal, one of the best in-ring performers had a return. And I am talking about the great Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, no.
So that's what I was
That
like.
is
I
true,
figured
yeah.
somebody would say All In. I was like, Bad Blood kind of beats it because Bad Blood was really, really good from start to finish. And it's been kind of rare for WWE recently to have that kind of pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aside from the Big Four.
Yeah, no. It's funny that it gets overlooked. Because you're absolutely right that match did get overlooked. But I mean, when you talk about the other big three that happened, I don't know. I guess it just kind of slipped under my radar. And does that suck? Yeah, but I think that's more of a testament to how great the other three that I mentioned were on All In.
I will say, Bad Blood. One thing that really got me, and it gave me like, so I don't know if anyone remembers. I think it was like 2011 or 12 where Cena and Rock teamed up, and it was like,
Yes.
only once now, never again.
Yeah.
When I saw Roman and Cody
You're gonna
like
make me
team
throw
together
up.
after all the history they've had, everything that's been said and done to each other, that gave me Rock and Cena team-in vibes because I don't see it happening again. If it was going to happen again, it most likely would have happened at War Games. But Bad Blood really was a banger, especially the one cringy part, and I bet everyone knows where I'm going with this, is when Drew went for that Claymore and landed like back on the stairs, like right where it bends.
Yeah. That was
Ooh, dude, I was like,
nasty.
God dang, I was like, okay, his back obviously isn't broken, but that is like a
He's
back
broken in half.
Like I was like, that is a back breaking move. I mean, you put the wrong guy in there and they go too far, they could break their back. But that moment alone, I had me cringing. I was like, you tell me Drew McIntyre doesn't wake up in a hotel room the next day and doesn't wake up at like 2 a.m, take a piss and goes, fuck, my back hurts.
All right. Well, next up, we have tag or trios wrestlers of the end year. We got the Power Buff Girls, which is Ty's nomination. The Hardy Boys is Joey's. DIY for Joe Monroe. Power Buff Girls again for my nomination. Motor City Machine Guns for Eddie. And DIY once again for Austin. All right, so let's talk about it. I think that tag team wrestling, I've made no secret about this. Tag and trios, especially wrestling in professional wrestling, has just really suffered, in my opinion, this year. The tag titles, just in WWE alone, the tag titles have not been on a pay-per-view since WrestleMania, before this judging period even started. And I'm talking about either set of titles in WWE.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's that right there. Number one is criminal. Number two, I think, the title's getting held up, especially by Judgment Day over on the Raw side. That was detrimental. They had them for 170 some days. They only defended them twice. Then we talk about the quality of opponents for both sides was not great. Even in NXT, the quality of opponents wasn't great over there either, but at least they were featured on TV. Or they were featured on pay-per-view, I mean.
Same with like AEW. It's like the Young Bucks had them, and it was kind of a great run. But it's like it got repetitive to the point where every pay per view you'd see like, okay, they're about to win. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, so that's what I got to say. As far as the preamble goes, I will say when it comes to the Powerbuff Girls, which I know Joey hates the name, but I'm gonna keep saying.
I really do. I
fucking love that name.
Mm-hmm.
They drug, kicking and screaming, they drug that women's tag division up from the ground, from the depths of the blackness of hell, to a point where it is prominent. They are the only tag titles and tag title division that has been featured on pay-per-views. And those titles don't get on pay-per-views unless those belts are on those two ladies, Belair and Cargill. And I mean, without them, I would say there is no women's tag division, or at least there wouldn't be much of one. So when I looked at the whole of wrestling, whether it was AEW, TNA, WWE, I think that they should be rewarded and they should be recognized for their contribution to what they did to bring up that division. Eddie, tell us about your nomination.
So if this would have been after the DIY heel turn, I probably would have went with them as far as when I made my selections. However, I still think that when they came into WWE, pretty much immediately won the tag titles and were having good to decent tag matches on SmackDown. I know they didn't put them on any of the premium live events or anything like that, but I think that they could have a pretty good feud with DIY coming up into the year, especially considering how Gargano played them.
Going to be chef's kiss. Austin, tell us about your nomination.
So, Jesse, I kind of agree with you that, tag team wrestling has kind of lacked a lot this year. Agree a lot with that. And, I mean, to be totally honest with you, if there's like kind of a subset of wrestling that I am the least constantly familiar with, it would certainly be tag teams. But I mean, as far as what I found entertaining and everything throughout the year, DIY was really what came to mind.
Did you enjoy? Since they were your pick, did you enjoy the swerve heel turn that happened?
But what? One more time.
Did you enjoy the swerve heel turn? Like everyone thought Tommaso and him was again and Gargano was gonna somehow divide, but Gargano pulls the holy shit moment and just low blows the Motor City Machine Guns and takes the titles. Like, did you like that?
Oh yeah, gotta love it.
That was awesome. Sorry,
If
Austin.
anything, it's kind of like music to my ears because like Motor City Machine Gun they come in and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna dominate WWE like we do every other place, and it's like, buddy, this is WWE, and as Vince McMahon used to once say, anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation. You guys got the titles, thought you're gonna be champions forever, and boom, you get hit with a big old low blow and a loss.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 20-year veterans, and I believe that was their second shortest title reign as tag champs.
They'll learn.
I think they had one that was shorter in TNA.
They'll learn.
But Joey, tell us about your nomination.
So the Hardys, I picked them because I grew up on the Hardys, and I've seen them hold just about every tag title there is possible. I think, if I'm correct, even the WCW titles under the WWE banner. But to see them at this age and still going out there and doing the whole Hardy voice thing, I think it was right that they left WWE when they did because they really were just wasting time. I think if anything, this is where they do kind of like a farewell tour, go to all these wrestling places, win some titles, do some amazing things, come back and I've heard that Jeff and Matt want to end their careers in WWE. Come back to WWE under Triple H's wing, not Vince McMahon's, and get one good solid run in WWE. Maybe even one more title reign to end it all. And then maybe a year or two afterwards go in the Hall of Fame and ride off in the sunset. The Hardys are just doing the Hardy Boys thing, and I think you got to love it now, especially in an era where John Cena's retiring. A lot of these wrestlers will be retiring before you know it, and the Hardys are no different. So you got to love it while you can, enjoy it while you can, because one day it won't be there. And plus, their entrance music, from what I understand, fans who attend WWE, AEW, and even TNA events, they say when that Hardy Boys song comes on, it's like being at a rock concert. So
Oh yeah,
it's good to see them doing their thing while they still can, and it's not even like they're doing it in a shameful way. In TNA right now, they don't look like they're scratching for just to be remembered. It looks like they're enjoying themselves and having some good matches, and that's what matters to me.
Absolutely. I think that it would be great to see them like in NXT. I think if they went down there and they kind of learned up some of those youngsters, maybe had a title run just to throw another belt into the case, I think that would be kind of cool. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
I will say that I will say where WWE really messed up is when they had Jeff Hardy and Bray Wyatt, I think in like 2016 or 17 on the same roster. They screwed up with not having, especially the Fiend. They screwed up not having that Fiend versus Jeff Hardy, aka Willow character. Talk about magic. That right there would have been a storyline to watch.
Ty, tell us about your nomination.
Yeah, the Power Buff.
Yeah.
You gotta get some RPD shirts made.
They've elevated those titles. I was convinced before they won the titles that those titles were cursed. Now I'm still convinced because now Jade Cargill's injured, so I'm still convinced they're cursed.
She's not injured. She's on vacation in the Bahamas. That's not even a joke.
Nobody knows who took her out. We got to figure that out. But they've elevated the titles. They've been on the pay-per-views, and yeah, the tag division this year has been lackluster, and it's just like I tried to go with men's, but it had its moments at times. Like, to be honest, I think my favorite like tag division is probably the is SmackDown's, because I just think they have great tag teams. They got, you know, DIY and Motor City, Street Profits, Pretty Deadly. There's a couple more I'm not naming right now, uh, but anyway, I just
Fucking
think that,
rip to the Street Profits. When is the last time anybody seen them?
I know, right? That's
I
crazy.
know.
But uh, so you have them that they've elevated the titles, and I think because of that, you know, I just had to go with them, because when I thought of tag teams, literally they're the first to come to my mind. I put some deeper thought into it, but they were the first to come to my mind when it came to
Fair
that.
enough. And Joe,
What?
tell us about him.
No, the good looking
The real Joe.
the real Joe.
Hey,
Joe
not on my
Monroe.
show. Not on
No.
my show.
With
Not
that
the champ
being
show.
said, the reason I picked
Joe, I think you're muted.
Yeah, you just muted
Yeah.
yourself.
Ain't the worst
I
in the world.
didn't do that. Okay.
There you go.
Anyways, like I was saying before, you know, system malfunction. I think DIY, hands down, I have to agree with Austin. They had one heck of half a year. That hill turn against the Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, man, can you wait?
You did it again.
Okay.
Last thing we heard
Oh.
was
What was the last thing you heard before I got, muted again?
you said that heel turn was, you were talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. But the heel turn, I want basically let me just tone it down before I get muted mysteriously again. It just sorry, I'm a little flustered, but that rivalry is going to kick off 2025. I can't wait to see more of that, and yeah, DIY 100% deserves everything that they have gotten this year, and I want to see more. That's it.
Fair enough.
Ain't it crazy that in this year we got to see DIY hold a pretty lengthy title run as good guys, and we're now technically in 2024 seeing them do it as a bad guy? Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen that in WWE, where in the same year period you see the two guys or one guy hold a title and they're the baby face, they're the guy people's chanting for, and then before the year's over they're getting booed and hated and they're heels. Like, I think it's been a while since I've seen something like that.
Fair enough. Next up, AEW MVP of the end year. Swerve Strickland is Ty's nomination. Tony Storm is Joe Monroe's. Swerve Strickland is Joey's.
Who's house?
As Ty would say.
Brian Danielson is mine. John Moxley is Eddie's. Swerve Strickland is Austin's. All right. So, what to say about the man, the myth, the legend, Brian Danielson? What literally, what can I say? He is the GOAT. He is the man who we never thought we were going to see another world title reign out of, and then we got the perfect, what was it, 2.5, 3-month reign. And I mean, he put people over, he built people up, he brought the company up, he did ratings, everything you could possibly look for in an MVP, Brian Danielson did. So, I mean, I don't know much more to say about it other than that.
Do you really believe in your heart or in your brain that you can honestly say that you never saw him holding another title?
Yeah, no,
I remember seeing him walk out. Well, I remember when I saw him walk out on AEW TV for the first time in that plain white T-shirt. I was like, "Yep, he's gonna be a future AEW champion." I knew when he walked in, there was no way they weren't gonna take one of the biggest WWE champions in the past 10 years and squander that. Like, I knew he would get eventually.
And you're right. You're absolutely right, because to most people that was obvious, but not to me, because
Really?
listen, shut up
I
and
am.
listen.
I am.
Because when I got introduced to Brian Danielson was that moment. So I didn't know what to expect out of him in this AEW run. I knew everything he did in WWE, but I didn't know about what Brian Danielson did previously before WWE. So this whole new side of him completely caught me off guard. And then, there was also the question of his health. We didn't know how long Brian was going to last. He could have gone in there, done a couple matches, and then, got taken out or injured, and then that would have been it. So
I'm just glad he.
I didn't think
I'm just.
anybody really saw it coming. So
I'm just glad he didn't get the ricochet treatment. Oh, I don't like how I'm losing in WWE all the time. I'm gonna go over here. Oh, I'm losing here, but I'm contracted, so I got to do it.
there's more going on than meets the eye with Ricochet. Eddie, tell us about your nomination. You just enjoy watching people drink chemicals.
Well, I mean, you start off with the heel turn on Danielson. Actually, I mean, if you want to get people to hate you, he done that perfectly. Putting the baggie on his head, and then going on to take his title. Not to mention that you could plug him in anywhere on the AEW roster, and he would do it, and he'd do pretty damn
He
good.
literally killed a man in a ring.
He
It's
did.
crazy. After he beat him for a title, he killed a man in a ring. It's
And
crazy.
then they were literally trying to murder Orange Cassidy.
Yes. What the hell?
Austin, tell us about your nomination.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, it's been since within this past year since I've kind of gotten in and become a part of this podcast and everything with you guys. It's been kind of like a wrestling resurgence for me. Kind of rediscovering, the fact that I enjoy it as much as I do and kind of getting reacclimated. And a lot of that's been kind of, getting as up to date as I can get on some of these newer companies and promotions such as AEW. And Swerve has very quickly just become a favorite of mine to watch over there.
It's fair. Joey.
Well, first off, I love the whole the whole Swerve Strickland song. I have that in my playlist. I love the whole dance. That's what really got my eyes on Swerve. Uh, and Swerve, he's a good wrestler. He had some great matches. I think he's a way better heel than a good guy. But if you want to show someone Swerve Strickland and be like, hey, I'm going to give you one reason to be interested in him, and you show him the Prince Nana dance and the song and the whole shebang leading up to leading up to the match, it's like, okay, I'm watching. That was entertaining. I'm watching, and then you get to see him go out there and just kill it. I remember that match with Hangman Page where what they use screwdrivers and medicine and needles and stuff.
Yeah,
I
a
wasn't.
hyperbolic needle.
God dang, like dude,
A
I'm
real
not
cinder block, not
like
one of those fakey exploding cinder
yeah,
blocks.
like see, ECW is the most extreme wrestling I like because I like watching wrestling I could watch with my kid or my nephew or something. I don't want to have to sit there and watch death wrestling where they're trying to kill each other or a match like that and have to explain like you shouldn't do that. That's not something you should see. But I mean, Swerve Strickland, like other than that one match, like I said, the whole needle and stuff, that stuff just took me out of it. But Swerve has just been killing it, and he's actually, when I think about it, he's actually my favorite former AEW champion. I love Swerve. I love the whole entrance and song and Nana thing. I really liked it when he looked at Nana and he told him he's like you are annoying, you are an idiot, you're this and that, but you're family and I love you. I was like, dude, that just like that's like that's type of shit you want to say to your best friend. Dude, I hate you. You are annoying. I don't want to be around you 24/7. but you're a hell of a guy and I love you. Swerve's just a good heel to me, and I would love to see this Swerve. Like, this is the Swerve Strickland, this heel Swerve we've seen in AEW. That's the type of heel wrestler I would have loved to see come and challenge Roman Reigns. That is like, oh shit, Roman's a heel. He's a tribal chief. He's a bad guy. But he's going up against this bad guy, this heel Swerve Strickland. That would have been like a super possibility on ending the reign to me. I could have watched that match and been like, Roman, not now, not tonight. I think Swerve would do this. Swerve Strickland would do great wonders on the WWE main roster today.
All right, Ty, tell us about Swerve.
Oh yeah, well, first thing, like it's like when you look at the half year, it's actually just he's lost. He's lost a lot. Like, he lost All In to Bryan Danielson, then All Out he loses to Hangman and Page, and then goes away for a while, comes back, wins a couple matches on Dynamite, then loses Bobby. But it's just, even with all that, it's just he's just had a tremendous year overall. Like I mentioned this before, he hasn't been pinned all year. He of course he did that in the beginning of the year. He did the draw with Hangman. He didn't get pinned in that triple threat. He tapped out to Bryan Danielson and passed out to Bobby and Hangman. But it's like he's just that mainstay of the show, and he just shows with the crowd reaction he gets, and just the matches he puts on. He's very entertaining to watch. And like the last little backstage segment on Dynamite, like, you could just literally tell with him and Ricochet, when he came on the screen, he started to talk. You couldn't hear what he was saying because there was so much noise going on in the background and people screaming whose house, Swerve's house in the background. You couldn't hear what he was saying. So I think he's proved himself all year. I mean, I feel like I talk about Swerve all the time. You guys know he's my favorite.
Absolutely.
You say that he lost a lot this year, though, and I think it's fair to say that, like what CM Punk once said, it's not about wins and losses. Swerve, yeah, he lost a lot this year, but the story he told with those losses, the bangers he put on, that matters more.
Because when you think about those, two matches at All Out and All In, bro, those are two of my top 3 matches of the year. Like, of the ones that I watched with him and Hangman and him and Danielson, which for me is number 1. Maybe I'll rethink the Hangman, but still, it's like those are still match contenders, even though he lost in those matches.
All right. And Joe Monroe, Tony Storm. I think it's funny that you and I both picked these two women, Tony Storm and Rhea Ripley. And if they weren't our Woman of the Year, they were our MVP.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's timeless Tony Storm. Just for what she's done from All In, heck, even up to current, with her coming back as the rock star Tony Storm, and her acting like she's got amnesia. She don't know what you're talking about. She's never been the AEW Women's Champion. What are you talking about? She got signed to WWE. Or, well, I mean, come on. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Tony Storm, even reinventing herself as many times as she had the past couple. Where's my camera?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Where is my freaking camera? Are you kidding me? Can you pull it back up, Mark? Mark, I'm trying. Pull it up. Jesus. Anyways, back what I was saying. Timeless Tony Storm has no boundaries. She can do whatever she wants to do, and people are going to enjoy it. No matter, are you freaking kidding me? All right, just move on, Jess. I'll get this figured out. Yep, that's it.
All right. Well, you'll have to smack Mark Monroe around until he can learn his lesson.
I'm trying to. What are you talking
about? Mark Monroe's the real highlight of the show.
All right, next up. Greatest faction of the end year.
Hurry up.
Bloodline 2.0 is Ty's nomination. The Judgment Day is Joey's. Hurt Syndicate is Joe Monroe's.
You hurt people. We hurt
The
people.
system is mine. The Death Riders for Eddie. And Bloodline 2.0 for Austin. All right. So, I hope we got Joe back now. For
Yeah.
me, the system. Oh my God. I was listening. Sorry about that microphone. I was listening to some of the stats they listed off at the last TNA show. 20 pay-per-view spots for that faction over their last year. And I know we're only judging the last 6 months, but still, you think about the dominance that they had. Even if you cut it in half, that's still 10 pay-per-view matches for that group. But and then you talk about the titles that they've won: women's tag team, TNA tag team, TNA World Title, TNA X Division title. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it's just like they've been draped in gold. They've had so much pay-per-view time. They've been so heavily featured on TV and in backstage segments. Like they are the quintessential faction of TNA. And I would say like they were, as the reason for them having this nomination, I would say they were the best overall faction of the year, based on that consistency and those title wins in that time. Eddie, go ahead and tell us about the Death Riders.
So first I'd have to say, like, whenever Danielson won the title, that's one world title for the group. Then they kick him out, and you see this kind of the conflict with Wheeler Yuta. I like that a lot, like that they've done. And then with Moxley taking the title from Danielson, bringing the title, I guess, back to the group, even though they only lost it because they kicked out Danielson. But and I just think with that, and then like just some of the stuff that they've done beforehand too, with like that legacy they've built up there in AEW. I think the half year's been pretty good for them, but I think they'll do even more into
Fair enough.
2025.
Austin, tell us about your nomination.
Oh yeah, as far as the Bloodline 2.0, their storylines and the feuds that they've had with the OG Bloodline, that's just been very entertaining to watch. I also liked how they brought several new faces into WWE. Everything, it was at the top of my list.
Fair enough. Joey.
I wouldn't say I enjoyed everything about the Judgment Day, but um, I do respect them because as a faction because they really are a big part of Monday Night Raw. Whether you like them or hate them, they are heavily featured. And I will say, at one point it was the whole group as a whole. But now that Priest and Rhea, the two maybe most popular members of the faction's gone, I would say to me that the one member that really keeps this group in that faction of the half year end year conversation is Dominic Mysterio.
The little
He,
chicken tender slut.
you take Dominic out of that group right now, it just turns into another group. Dominic gets the most heat, and I remember one of the TSW wrestlers told me, like, you don't want go home heat. And I was like, well, that's what Dominic Mysterio has, and as a heel, that is like the best type of heat you could want. Is that you can't talk, no one gives a crap. But yeah,
Well,
they.
I would disagree that that's Go Home Heat. Go Home
I'm
Heat
not,
was Roman in 2015. That was Go Home Heat. What Dom has is just that real vicious, it's fun to boo this person heat.
yeah, but I like the Dominic heat because it's the closest thing to go home heat you can have, and no, they've. I just like how they're a big part of Raw, and I do think an honorary mention was one of my favorite parts. I think of this year or half year, whatever. Maybe it was the last past year. I don't know, but I really did like R-Truth in it. That was really one of the funnest things in wrestling.
For a week,
no,
yeah.
Yeah, well, for a good month or so until Mania, but yeah, they're just a big part of WWE programming right now, and that happens for so many groups: the Bloodline, the Authority, the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day deserves it because, for me at least, because how many feuds can last this, or how many factions can last this long and get away with it? To be honest,
Fair enough. Ty, tell us about it.
Tell us about it.
Or 2.0. Great to see it like kind of play out. Also, everybody who's like kind of in there, it's odd. It's like, you know, they've kind of taken on their own little personas themselves, and they have their own little shtick with you know, Tama with the yeah. I love you, Ulo. Jacob
Cat's
Fatu,
freaking out
always
here.
you are my tribal chief. But and then you got Tonga Loa, man, one of the best members of the group. He's got his own like kind of vibe going, and provide us with one of the most shocking moments ever was his like debut hit back at Backlash. Like, who was expecting Tonga Loa? I don't think anybody was expecting Tonga Loa, and he showed up, man. So I think it's been just great to see it play out, and like you said, like that 1 and 2 with when we were going over the feud, like the Bloodline feud, I've enjoyed just for different reasons than the Drew and CM Punk, but Bloodline 2.0, I've been a big part of that, and just seeing the evolution of like Solo Sikoa, because he's just really grown into so much this year, so much. I'll say that even just going against.
I do see why you pick up Ty.
He
It's just the
him.
one they were really close to being my pick. The only reason I couldn't pick him is because the whole tribal chief thing that Solo's doing. I get it, but it's like he took Roman's old character and is copy pasting it. I really wish he would have took this whole tribal chief thing and made it his own.
But that's what I kind of like about it. It's like maybe I would have preferred that too, but I just like that because it's so clear that's what he's doing. It gets heat. It's just like, you know, fake. It's like the whole.
I get that.
But I do kind of agree with you. Like maybe if he took a turn on, you know, being the tribal chief, but I mean, hey man, look where he learned from. He was his enforcer, Roman's enforcer.
All right, and then Joe Monroe, tell us about your nomination.
So the Hurt Syndicate, or Hurt Business, as WWE fans will know them by, to me has always been an underrated group, and now in AEW, I think is a chance to show the very full potential of this group. MVP, even as a wrestler, was one of the greatest. Bobby Lashley, I mean, it's Bobby Lashley. That's all I'm going to say. Then Shelton Benjamin, my goodness, the first few weeks he was in AEW, we finally got to see full 100% old school Shelton Benjamin that I'm pretty sure even Brock Lesnar up north at his ranch was smiling, going, yeah, that's my boy.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Shelton, that's honestly what did it for me, how they're treating Shelton right there, and how I hope they continue booking this group. As long as, Tony Khan don't act like Joey. Which, hey, by the way, Joey, I'm surprised you can drink out of a cup without a sippy cup lid on it. So kudos to you on that.
It took some training.
We hurt people. We hurt people.
It's funny you mentioned that they were the Hurt Business in WWE because, and then for our TNA listeners out there, you know, they were the Beatdown Clan. So no matter where they go.
I was gonna ask what the TNA name was. I mean, give it to them though. They went to 3 different companies and have done this. I mean, not many people do that.
Yep. No matter what, it's always MVP and Bobby.
And Joe, I know you're used to running your show. I'm surprised that you even knew how to click the link and go from there. I'm just saying, like, when Jesse said follow the link, I thought you were gonna be like, do you have a map?
All right, you two.
Okay, then.
Next up.
Battle of the Joes.
The Battle of the Joes.
Greatest weekly TV show of the end year. WWE SmackDown is Eddie's.
Smack.
WWE Raw is Austin's. WWE SmackDown is Joe Monroe's. WWE NXT is mine. WWE SmackDown is Joey's. And WWE Raw is Ty's. So we have 3-2-1 split. So SmackDown got 3 nominations, Raw got 2, and I was the only one who actually, picked the correct answer in NXT, the most consistent, entertaining 2-hour show in all of sports entertainment. And especially over the last 6 months, where we've had this plethora of new talent come in who have just absolutely stunned the world, dominated. They moved to a new network, got a huge boost in ratings on the CW. They've been going on the road again. They've had legends coming in, doing segments and even matches in some case. NXT is just the perfect 2-hour wrestling show, and I don't see how anybody chose anything outside of it. But that's my view.
Well,
So,
give us
Eddie,
a chance to talk, and you'll hear why.
I know.
Wait.
So, starting with Eddie, let's hear why you
And we
guys
all
didn't
chose
pick NXT.
We all chose WWE.
Yeah, I will say it was a bad year for AEW TV. Amazing year for AEW pay-per-views. Shitty year for TV.
Like, I know I've not kept up with too much AEW TV, but I remember when, like, they maybe had, like, 50 episodes of Dynamite, and I was just watching it on Hulu. I was like, okay, this is something I can get invested in. I'm kind of interested.
Yeah.
And then when I did tune in, like, probably this year and last year, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, and the thing is before we let Eddie start off here, I will
Probably
say,
last year, a guy named Cheeseburger.
it's one of those situations where AEW is trying to do the right things, and in some cases they do. The women main eventing has been great the last couple of weeks here. When it comes to as much time that the women get, they don't focus enough on their division. And then like they do these tournaments like the C2, which is awesome. I will never say a bad thing about the C2, but you can only run it for 6 weeks out of the year. Whereas the rest of your weekly TV needs something, it needs substance, and I don't think they did a very good job of giving it substance.
Have you ever watched like an AEW pay per view?
Let's let Eddie move on because we do have more to get to. So Eddie, go ahead. Tell us about your nomination.
So the main reason that I went with SmackDown rather than an NXT or a Raw would be just from the fact how much I enjoyed the stuff from LA Knight's title run, the feud with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, the Motor City Machine Guns debuting. And there was some stuff like sometimes week to week it might have felt a little slower, like it dragged. But along with Cody's title reign, the story with him and KO, the beats with Randy in it, the Bloodline story. It's like for me, it was hard to pick any other show.
Austin, talk to us.
Man, so if I'm being completely honest, I picked Raw mostly because that's been what I've been able to to watch the most consistently. Not the most glamorous of reasons, but I'm nothing if not honest.
Hey, that works. Joey, tell us about SmackDown.
I picked SmackDown because for a good while, it was known as the B Show, and now they've like really stepped up their game, and I'd say it's right up there with Raw. But when I watch Raw, you see a bunch of like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because Raw is 3 hours and SmackDown's 2, but you see a whole lot of mid card stuff on Raw, and maybe a few segments and matches with main event guys. On SmackDown, it's like, yeah, you have your mid card stuff, but it doesn't really feel like it's too mid card. It feels like it's up there between mid card and main event almost. But SmackDown has all these main eventers in, I'd say, every other segment or two. Raw, you watch Akira Tozawa stuff, R-Truth stuff, this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. And then you're like, well, I want to see the Seth Rollins and Punk stuff. I want to see the Cody Rhodes stuff. Like, you want to see all this stuff on Raw, but it takes like forever to get there. SmackDown, it's like, well, we're gonna get to the heavy hitting stuff every other segment, every other match. Not to even, and like, maybe it's for me, maybe it's even like part of half year and part of the beginning. But this whole year alone, you've seen uh, returns from The Rock. You've seen Paul Heyman returns. You've seen new stars like the new Bloodline 2.0 coming in. SmackDown's been the place to be, especially for like these new Bloodline members. In 1 year, we got a whole new Bloodline, 3 different members, and we created 3 different stars. And that's not even counting like we just now got Braun Strowman back on SmackDown. Roman returned and is bigger than ever. SmackDown's just the show. Like, back in the day, most people wanted to be on Raw because that's where the money was. But now it's kind of like, well, SmackDown's kind of a really big show too. And I see where you're coming from with NXT, but I do want to point out that I think a lot of us picked Raw and SmackDown because Raw and SmackDown, they pretty much paved the way for NXT. They walked, they crawled, they ran, they scratched, and they clawed, even during Monday Night Wars and stuff. Without doing all that, NXT don't exist.
That's why it's so important to remember we're only talking about the last 6 months. That's why it is an End Year Awards.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just pointing out that like NXT was good, but without Raw and SmackDown there and they're being above them, NXT isn't there today, anyways.
Okay, well, I will rebuttal that with this, and then we'll move on to Ty. Whose tag championships were on pay-per-views? Whose women's division is featured 50% to 50% compared to the men's division?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you credit. Shawn Michaels is really killing it down there.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about. I'm just going to stop here because I'm not going to stop glazing NXT. They needed this. Whose women's champion was the most dominant in all of WWE, NXT included? Roxanne Perez.
Well, yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like when they were making NXT that real big, like we are now a third brand, we're up there with Raw and SmackDown. I hate that they went to that rainbow color bullshit, and
Everybody
now they're
did.
like,
But
now
it
they're
was
back
a
to
necessary evil. Because without rainbow bullshit, we wouldn't have got Team 2001 with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. We wouldn't have got Braun Breaker. We wouldn't have got the Creeds. We wouldn't have got Carmelo. We wouldn't have got all these people who came out of that rainbow bullshit 2.0.
Like, I'm there with you. I think we should see NXT titles defended at WrestleMania. I think we should see NXT more heavily introduced in WWE programming. I hate the feeling of when I watch NXT, it almost feels like WWE's indie programming. Like, I really do wish they were more involved, especially with Shawn Michaels at the realm. Like, I think they should be in WrestleManias, and why not?
Anyways.
Why not at the Royal Rumble have an NXT title match? Why not?
Yeah. Anyways, Ty, tell us about your nomination.
I just liked Raw because it's just the show I enjoyed the most, and just the most consistent. I mean, you had, of course, Jay Uso, who's on there. Just every show he does, it's been great. You had him become an Intercontinental Champion live, and that was a great moment. Then you think about like the debut of the Wyatt Six, like that moment itself, and happened on Raw with that. You have the rise of Braun Breaker. You have the feud of Drew and Punk that went on. Seth has just been killing it. That's one thing I say between those three, any promo that kind of has Punk, Seth, or Drew is like been my favorite promos to watch, especially Seth. So I think all of that combined with just, I do like the comedic value that, like the Alpha Academy or R-Truth, provides to it. And I think one of the reasons I liked, Raw was because it was 3 hours and it just felt like, I don't know, it's like when you put it on, it's like, you're just kind of just watching, enjoying it. And those times maybe I just enjoy the longer shows. So now that they went down to 2 hours, I was, kind of wishing they stayed at 3, but
It's only temporarily.
yeah. Also, I just sense, it's not going to feel like, that bad once it hits Netflix because I assume there's not going to be ads. So with no commercials, it's going to feel like there's going to be more TV time to fill stuff in. So I just sense that'll happen because, a 2-hour show with ads, it's going to feel shorter than without all the ads that are going to come
Fair
out.
enough.
But Raw stay consistent and it's built like it's legit built up so much as of late because they're building up to that Netflix debut. And I think, man, once it hits Netflix, it's gonna be over, and Rob might just
All
go
right.
back to the A show we always knew it was
Does.
in
Yeah.
2025.
And
It does feel weird now that it's 2 hours again, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like when it comes on at 8 and goes home at 10, for the first 2-3 episodes, I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? Like, this feels weird. Like, there's another hour. Oh, wait, no, there ain't.
all right, and Kevin Owens, tell us about your nomination.
The
Well,
real WWE champion.
exactly. So I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you, Jesse. But
Looks like you're sleeping in your car over there.
well, fuck. I mean, if you hear Joey talk long enough, that's a good.
Yeah,
sleep thing.
it puts me to sleep
But-
too.
But I digress. SmackDown. I mean, come on. You mentioned it. Kevin Owens, for crying out loud. He's on a hot heel run right now. And I like what they did for Saturday night's main event. He is the real WWE champion. And to me, and to majority of wrestling fans, professional wrestling fans, that is the real WWE championship he's holding. So hopefully we get to see more of him and the Winged Eagle title in WWE. Honestly, I think they just used it as a test, but I digress. But SmackDown, I mean, you got that. You get more of the Bloodline feud. The consistency. This is more of early 2000s SmackDown vibes that I'm getting from SmackDown. And that was a great time for SmackDown. That's when Paul Heyman was in charge of writing. I don't know if he's in charge of writing here or not, but it daggum sure seems like it is. Man.
How old are you, Joe?
30. What's up?
30. Because, well, I'm like the oldest one. All of these other guys on here are kind of like babies considered to how old I am. I feel like I'm the grandpa. But like everyone's like all that. I love that title. I'm glad they brought it back. What people like me truly understand is when I was watching wrestling as a kid, that was the title. A lot of people grew up with the spinner and the Stone Cold version of the title and all that. The bigger Eagle title. But I grew up on this specific title. So when I saw that come back, that took me beyond the 2004 and beyond the 2000s and all that. I remember watching that title getting defended in at WrestleMania 14. Like it's crazy. Like
Jesus,
that really
hang on.
did.
Stop. If you're going to address me first and foremost, look directly into the freaking camera, dude. You're killing me. You're acting like you're talking to
I've
or
got glasses
something.
on. You can't see where I'm
You
looking.
can see where I'm looking at. Jeez Louise. For crying out
It
loud,
doesn't
dude.
matter where you're looking.
Right here, bro. Right here. Jeez. You know,
You
I
can't
can't.
see where I'm
You
looking.
know,
right
I
now.
can't
I'm
believe
looking
I'm
up
saying
there.
this. Your wrestler is smarter than you.
Let me ask you.
That is
Which way am I looking
freaking
right now?
sad. You're finally
way am I
looking
looking
at
right
me.
now?
Thank God. Well, I don't
Which way
know.
am I looking right now?
You're looking straight. About time.
I'm looking that way.
Oh, you're looking that way. That's great. But
You
your
can't
glasses are
tell which way
focused
I'm
right
looking
here.
at.
Yeah, but it's
What
the
are
way
you
you're
doing? You pulling
angling
an
your head.
Undertaker and looking like this? Talking to us like this? Looking down and looking up? What the hell are you doing, dude?
Hang on. Was that our last
Anyway.
award?
No, that was not our last award. That's why I keep trying to get you to shut up when other people are talking.
I have a thing going on. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
has a
well,
thing
put your
going
thing
on,
away
doesn't
so other people can have time.
Jeez.
I said what I said.
Where did you pick him up? Where did you pick him up at? Some kind of lost zoo or something? Jeez.
It might as well have
Please.
been.
Please.
Next award. Greatest surprise of the end year. Cena's retirement is ties. Punk is the fifth man, Joe Monroe. Multiple new titles is Austin's. Punk is the fifth man is Eddie's. The NXT Women Explode is mine.
That's weird.
And Cena's retirement is Joey's.
Of course.
Why did you really have to frame it that way, name it that way? The NXT Women Explode.
They
It sounds
did.
like, oh my God, you could have phrased that different ways.
Okay, so we got Stephanie Vekar, Julia, and Zarya all at the same time.
No, I'm not
And
putting
that's-
that down. I get that.
I'm
but the way
ignoring you.
put it-
I'm ignoring you.
put it, the NXT Women Explode. all
Hey,
over
Joey,
the
I
place.
think adults are trying to talk, so when we get to
Yeah.
the fifth section, you can speak then. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead, Jesse.
Hey,
we
I
get
still
to
left
the-
the word boobies.
When we
so
get to the kiddie table, you can have your turn.
I still left the word boobies.
And then you talk about the real not resurgence, but the arrival of names like Jada Parker. Lola Vice has been heating up. You got the returning Cora Jade and Nikita Lyons. Kaylani Jordan is still red hot. After losing her title, she's still, in that main picture. The women of NXT have carried the brand, and that's not even without talking about the woman herself, Roxanne Perez. She is, like I said before, the most dominant women's champion in WWE. I think she's the longest reigning champ of all right now, because she won her title at Stand and Deliver, which happened before WrestleMania.
You really love NXT. They got multiple awards from you.
Yeah.
I
They
do.
did, didn't they? They do.
NXT killed it this year. Especially over the last 6 months.
Who do you think, Jesse? Since you like NXT, I mean, I like NXT too. We all do, but since NXT was like heavily voted for a lot by you, it might be a hard choice to
Well, it was
vote
2
and pick from.
awards.
But who did a better job running NXT in your mind, Triple H or Shawn Michaels?
I will always have a sweet spot in my heart for the black and gold NXT super indie days of Triple H.
But
That being said, yes, but the current version that we have, which is, the yellow and white or silver and black, whichever you want to call it, they're the same version, just different colors, of Shawn Michaels, just pisses, shits, and farts all over it, because it is a complete TV show. Everybody gets time. Nobody's wasted. Everybody feels important, whether they're on the bottom of the card or at the top. Even guys like Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis get time, and they have a purpose on the show. And that's not something that Triple H can say he's ever done since he got back, because no matter who it was, he's always had somebody who's on the wayside who has not gotten time since he returned to the helm, so to speak, or took over the helm 2 years ago. He's always pushed some people aside. Whereas Shawn, I feel like he uses everybody at his disposal, even when he gets, people taken away from him. You talk about when the draft happened. This wasn't part of the judging time, but when the draft happened and Shawn lost all those people to the main roster, what did he do? He reached out to fucking TNA and got Jordan Grace to fill that spot for the women's division, while some of these other ladies were still on their way. We're still getting trained. We're still, in the process of getting signed. So, I mean, he knows how to steer the ship through the choppy waters, and I appreciate that about NXT.
It's crazy because if you look at like 1996 and you look at Shawn Michaels and Triple H and said, hey, one day they're going to run the company, run it all, you would have thought like that person was high. Then you skip to 2004, 2010, and you still have them conversations, and everyone's like, no, Shawn's done. Triple H won't be that guy. Vince will never leave. Here we are going into 2025, and both Shawn and Triple H, two geniuses of the wrestling business, they're running it. And I would honestly say, like, yeah, I mean, drama aside, I always will have a soft spot for Vince McMahon. He is the guy that brought WWE where it was in my life. So thanks to Vince McMahon, I got turned on to WWE. But in this age and era, I would have to say Triple H and Shawn Michaels are just, they're not like Vince McMahon, who's like, yeah, I want to do this, and then, oh, I don't want to do that. Shawn Michaels and Triple H know what a home run is, and they're swinging for it every week, every pay-per-view. That's the difference between AEW and WWE. I feel like Tony Khan is sitting here trying to bunt a ball and hope to make it to first base. Shawn and Triple H are over here like, fuck bunting, dude. We know what a hit is, and we're hitting. We're swinging, buddy.
All right. Well, enough glazing NXT. Eddie Wade, talk to us about your nomination for Surprise of the End Year.
Damn, that lost.
When I started looking at y'all's nominations, there was a couple that I wasn't really thinking of them as surprises. Like with the titles, I wasn't like I kind of had a feeling they would do that, so I didn't consider that a surprise for myself. But like I like how they they teased it like Sammy was going to eventually talk Seth into it, for them to do the flip and have it be Punk, which ties into their feud now. I think it's going to be. I think that has to be it for me.
Austin.
Sorry about that. I was over here. I've been trying to chill my dog out. She's got a new squeaky toy, and she's been going ham on it.
Yeah.
I
was about to say, you assholes, when you have dogs and shit, squeaking toys.
Yeah, I know. I apologize.
I thought that was Joey just doing something very inappropriate off the Go ahead. Sorry.
Good Lord. Chill out, okay? So, sorry, I'm trying to settle this one down.
Hit us with your knowledge. Tell us about your nomination.
Gotcha. Remind me one quick time which category we were in again. I'm sorry, I was trying to handle her.
We're doing the biggest surprise.
Okay, yes, the titles, the new titles. Okay, I'm sorry. Admittedly, I will say, take this with a slight grain of salt here, because I'm not going to lie. When I was putting that down, I did not think strictly within just the last 6 months entirely, although that has been part of it. I've thought it was really awesome seeing all these new titles get brought into it. Several different things. We just had the Women's United States Championship. That was awesome. Just seeing
Women's Intercontinental, Women's Speed, and the NXT Women's North American.
North American, yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Which I think that one might have been before
I think
the
it happened. It was
so.
Either June or July. And,
All I know is,
and the cutoff was July, or is the end of June. So, but either way, it's still right around the time.
Yeah, there has been a lot of titles.
Oh, absolutely. And I personally, I've thought that's been awesome. That's really allowing some of these, good Lord, allowing some of these superstars, these wrestlers, to kind of use that to elevate themselves just a little bit better.
Apparently, they want to put their 2 cents in, Austin.
But yes,
that's how you really feel.
That's my explanation there. Give me just a moment. I'm going to see if I can get my brother to take her out.
I was going to say, that dog is happy. Let it be.
All
He's
right.
being a white person, dude.
Joey, why don't you ramble that up for a minute about your nomination?
All right, I'm gonna have to ask Austin a question when he comes back about the whole title thing. But I picked Cena's retirement. I think. Um,
Yeah, and to be clear, it's Cena's retirement announcement. That wouldn't
the,
fit on the plaque, but it's the
so
announcement.
I remember. Well, the whole thing is a shocker, but I for some reason I don't know why. Maybe I was at work or something and I missed the show. I had to come home and watch it. But when I got online and I saw the clip where Cena announced his retirement, like I ain't gonna lie, that guy being my hero, my favorite, uh, dude, like I literally forgot where I was. Time stood still for a second there, and that's part of wrestling, the heartbreaking moments that leave you breathless. And I remember so many thoughts going through my head, like this can't be real. What does this mean? I'm glad we get a retirement tour out of it because that's the only right way to do it. But no, that just really hit me to the core because I knew it was coming one day. I was just hoping it wouldn't be that day. And the whole thing was like, I don't know, the whole announcement was just bizarre because you see him come out with the last time is now shirt
Mhm.
and cow and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, he's retiring now. Like, there is no more matches. Then it gets a little better. We hear that he's doing a tour. But like to me, it's just the reason I picked that is because I'm glad I get a year to watch my hero go out and everything. Uh, if there's one thing I would ever blow money on, I don't care. I'd go like thousands of dollars in the negative for would be John Cena's Hall of Fame speech and stuff. But no, that was just like the most shocking, heartbreaking, fulfilling moment for me, and I'm just glad we all get to enjoy the ride. There's going to be so many times on this show where we do a prediction and people's going to vote for Cena to win, but oh well, his last year he's going to put this guy over. It's going to be a ride, and I'm glad we get to ride it. But geez, man, it was just heartbreaking and everything for me to see my hero going out.
All right, and Ty, tell us about your nomination.
Same reason. The bombshell that was dropped, and it's like it was just shocking to see. And I had a couple other in contention, like uh, Brian Danielson at Wrestle Dream, the loss or whatever. Of course, I knew he could have, lost it, but still, it was just crazy to see. And also, of course, Punk being the fifth member was shocking, and uh, even like one that was unexpected for me. Just I remember being on at work on my break and looking at my phone and couldn't believe what I was seeing was Ethan Page debuting in NXT. Like that just blew my mind. Didn't see it coming, and just when I first seen it, that was crazy. But with John Cena retiring, yeah, that was the biggest shock. And like you said, he was entering, coming down the ring. I was just shocked to see John Cena at Money in the Bank. But I was like, oh, it's great to see him. And he dropped that. I'm excited that he is giving a one more year, farewell tour. But yeah, that was the most shocking. I just didn't see that at Money in the Bank.
Like you guys are a lot like me because like I was 12 years old when Cena, 12 or 13 when Cena debuted. So I was literally a kid growing up into a man with John Cena in my life. I literally grew along with his career. So that's kind of why it's like an earth-shattering moment for me is because
Joey,
like I
you
grew
you
up
grew
watching this
into a
guy.
man.
A short man, but a man, yeah.
What was his name?
Huh? Oh, fuck you. I get it now. I caught on to that. Don't say Danny DeVito because I've been compared to him and Jack Black. I don't like it.
All right, Joe Monroe, tell us about the fifth
Joe
man.
who?
Well, guys, if I may say so myself, I
Joe who?
honestly think that my pick is the best because I am the best. That's it entirely. But no, seriously, CM Punk coming back was no, it's not better than me and my wrestler who looks like a caveman from the Geico commercials. No, it's not him. But I have to say he was pretty smart taking the same pick as me because I'm the only Joey that freaking matters on this show right now. You're welcome.
Oh
I don't
my
even.
god,
I honestly
that
don't
was
even
so
think.
perfect.
Can't take that,
I
Joey. You
honestly
can't
don't.
take that.
Thank you. I honestly don't think that you're the Joe that matters on your own show. Little known here.
Right. Whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy. Anyway,
Face
but, yeah.
removed.
All right.
But in all
Female
seriousness,
toner.
Jesse, I have to agree with Eddie. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I have to agree with him. I honestly thought they were going to cop out and use Cody or bring in another Bloodline member, like an actual family member. But no, they chose Punk, and that surprised the crap out of me. So that's why.
Yeah, no, I was so happy they didn't add in fucking Cody.
Bro, that
See,
ladies and gentlemen, that was
Ladies,
great.
I can't do it, Paul. Heyman,
Next
sorry.
up, we have the greatest jobber of the end year.
Joey's
oh
on here?
man, I forgot about this.
Beast Mortos is Ty's
Oh,
nomination.
come on.
The beast.
Ricochet is Joey's.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Swoggle is Joe
What?
Monroe's.
You're not gonna like it, Ty.
Randy Orton is mine.
What the heck, Jess?
Ricochet is Eddie's.
Rico.
And JD McDonough is Austin's.
The
Lord
midget
Farquaad
man.
himself.
Hang on,
Jade.
hang
I was
on,
about to
hang
say
on.
the midget
I
man.
got to applaud Austin on his pick because that was a great fucking pick. That was great.
All
I
right.
bet you $20. Me and Eddie's are different.
So let me
Okay,
talk to you.
okay.
Let me talk to you.
Don't steal. That.
I heard Joey or Joe, I should say. I heard you like, what the heck, when you saw Randy Orton,
Yeah, what the heck?
and that is that's a natural response until I explain what the greatest jobber award is. The greatest jobber award is a badge of honor. It is the person who makes other people look so good, who does not lose their aura. The person who is the best at putting other people over, and Randy Orton encapsulates that to a T, because Randy Orton has not won a singles match in WWE on pay-per-view since WrestleMania 37.
Well, I mean, what? Just like this. Oh no, not Hogan. Just like this guy, Buff Bagwell. I can see that. Yeah.
So that is why I chose Randy Orton. Eddie Wade, let's hear it.
Okay, so from the stuff that they had him do with Braun Breaker before he eventually left and went to AEW, to how they had him working with Ospreay, and did he work with Swerve? I could
He
be
had like one
mistaken
match
on
with him, I
that.
think.
It was like one match.
Yeah, it wasn't really a work.
But yeah, like they had him come in as like not really like pushing him to this main event level, but they're like, okay, this is a credible guy. We can have him eat losses to our guys that
Main
we're wanting
event.
to push, and he'll still be okay. And nobody thinks any different of Ricochet because he loses to like a Bobby Lashley or
Right.
eventually like an MJF or one of those guys.
Austin, tell us about your nomination.
So, as far as my nomination goes, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't even familiar with the term jobber. I had to Google that.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. And kind of like the general take that I got is just like somebody that's constantly taking some L's. JD's kind of what came to mind there. So that's kind of where my pick came from. I wish I had a more kind of detailed explanation of that, but that's really what I got.
You crack me up with some of the shit you say, like, well, they just I got him. This like you say it in the nicest way, but it's like, okay, well, what he really means is somebody who sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joey, tell us about it.
Full disclosure, I have a tendency to use this in a completely different way as everybody else.
Because he
We
doesn't
remember
follow
my-
the rules.
No, we remember what I did with Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed, and for like 2 years straight. So I'm going to continue that. You all look at jobbers in a different way that I do. I picked Ricochet for a different reason than Jesse, and or Eddie, and I wish Eddie wouldn't have said, "Oh, well, we can feed him a lot of L's, and no one will look at him differently." Wrong. I do. First off, Ricochet was a jobber in WWE for like a majority of his career, even when he held a title. Jobber. And then he has the audacity to think he's going to go elsewhere and be used differently. Yeah, that's a great mindset, but he's literally doing the same thing in AEW that he did in WWE. He's still losing. He's putting on great matches with great people, but just because you get to do the acrobats that you didn't get to do in WWE, okay, cool, you get to do more cartwheels and front flips. Okay, the Young Bucks been doing that for about 50 years now. Get real. He's on AEW now. He's doing the same thing he did in WWE, and that's taking a shit ton of L's. And I think it's kind of sad, but Ricochet's biggest achievement is that his girlfriend is hot.
I know his girlfriend.
He is a jobber at best, and oh my god, I just can't get it. I can't get into the character. Nothing against the guy personally, but WWE couldn't get into him. AEW still can't get into him. I'm like, bro, change it up. Grow your hair back. Do something different. I'm just not a fan of it. So he's a jobber to me just because he's a loser. I'm sorry, but I take it a different way than y'all.
All right, and Ty.
Thank God. Okay.
I like the beats. Like you said, he makes people look good in his matches, and he wins sometimes. But it's like a lot of the times I've seen him be put into situations where that purposely trying to make someone new who came in look good, or someone's on a roll and they need like maybe a first title defense, and Beast is there, and I like Beast. He's so good in the ring. I feel like he can anybody and he gets him over when he does.
All right. And Joe Monroe.
Yes.
Tell us about your nomination.
Ah!
All right. Before fake Husky, tries to interrupt. Yeah, Joey. Nice try. Hell, who did I pick again? Swoggle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because
it's Swoggle.
Why the hell did you pick Swoggle?
Because it's Swoggle.
Yeah,
I pay attention.
What did Swoggle do in the last 6 months that made you pick him?
He was a jobber in TNA.
He wasn't in TNA in the last 6 months, was he?
Yes, he was.
At some point, I think he was.
He did a couple of matches and he jobbed out hard.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so that's why I picked Swoggle. Plus, Swoggle don't get enough love and recognition, so that's another.
Oh, so you picked him because you can relate to him.
Yeah.
He is a fellow Irishman.
It was a nepotism pick.
So yeah, it was.
Hey, you and him both do relate to each other. You both wear green, and you both
use your words, not your thoughts. Come on.
Act your age, not your IQ.
Probably the only time Swoggle will get an RPD award ever.
Yeah. All right.
Don't put it past.
Let's keep it trucking along, even though I don't agree with that pick, Joe. I think that was outside the bounds.
Nah. Give me a mulligan on it.
A little short-minded.
Greatest rookie. This one's pretty one-sided. We got Mariah May as Joe Monroe's. Oba Femi as mine.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ron Breaker for Eddie.
Oh.
Austin's is Braun Breaker as well.
Oh.
Dragon Lee is Joey's. And Braun Breaker is Ty's.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Braun.
Now, I gotta ask. Well, first off, I'll say Obafemi. Need I say more? That's my shtick. Yeah,
that's good enough right there.
Two names, first and the last, 6 letters. Femi's 4. Okay, two names, first and the last, 7 letters. My apologies.
Jesse having a problem doing basic.
I was thinking about Jey Uso as 6 letters.
Was you thinking about
I used
Steiner,
the same
but the wrong Steiner there, Jesse?
Yeah, kind of. Anyways, everybody went for Braun Breaker. Like 3 people out of the 6 of us. Like 50%, I guess, isn't everybody, but come on, like
I did have them typed in.
Braun had a great year.
Yeah.
So Eddie, we'll go with you first.
I'd have to start with his IC title runs. I like the story that, like, whenever he first got called up, how they didn't put him in King of the Ring, and he was mad about that. Like, I think that's a very logical thing for a guy who was treated the way he was in NXT to be upset about, and then to go on to win the IC title not once but twice. And then the stuff he's been doing with Sheamus and Ludwig, Jey Uso, and this is. I could see how Obafemi could get it. I could see how Mariah May could get it. But for me, the dominance on the main roster is just like, it's hard to argue.
Excellent point.
You sound like the way you delivered that, Eddie. It sounds like you're getting in trouble by your boss at Domino's. Why are the pizza numbers low this month? Look, there's a very logical explanation. The pepperonis have been not selling so well. Calm down.
Completely getting off topic.
Austin, go ahead.
Delivery matters.
I got to say, I really couldn't agree with Eddie more on that. Braun's just been absolutely killing it. And, I mean, yeah, I wish there was really more I could say to elaborate on that, but he kind of took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, hot damn, Eddie, you just a word reader, aren't you?
All right, fine. If Austin doesn't want to tell us about his pick, Joey can talk about his.
No, I love it. I love the way he said it. Delivery matters.
Dun, dun, dun.
What, Dragon Lee? Is it me?
Yes.
The only reason I picked Dragon Lee is because getting called up to WWE's main roster is not I mean, we've seen so many people not get that call that we would have. We've seen so many people get that call and then get nothing. Like, I wouldn't say nothing, but like you look at someone like Samoa Joe. He came from NXT to the main roster, did a few things, but now he's showing the type of star he can be outside WWE because WWE wouldn't push him there. So what I'm saying is getting called up to the main roster is a big achievement and feat of its own. I really do feel like Rey Mysterio's time is coming sooner rather than later, whether he announces it like Cena did or not. But WWE needs that masked superhero character. And I feel like him being right there with Rey, I think Rey can teach him not just movesets and knowledge, but I think that can set him up for a good spot if he really does try hard and learns everything he can. He ain't done too much this year, but I think like in 2025, I feel like we could possibly see Lee and Mysterio hold the tag titles together. I could see them being one day, if Rey Mysterio gets a retirement tour, which a lot of people say he deserves it like Cena, I could see Dragon Lee being one of those people he faces. So I think like Dragon Lee has yet to prove I feel like he has yet to prove what he can do and what he has to offer to the main roster, and in time we'll definitely see that.
All right. And Ty.
See, finally done. Jeez, I can only mock him for so long.
Braun Breaker. It just seems like, it's like with the run he had in NXT, we all knew like the dominant roster, and it seems like he's like in the perfect place right now with him holding the title, and they've done it right ever since he's come onto the main roster. He's had the memorable moments. That's like the coolest move ever when he runs around the ring and spears somebody. It just I
love it.
Like holy moly when it happens. But and of course the title runs and the people he's beaten so far. He's had all great matches, and like I said, it's like, bro, he's destined to be world champion and have all this stuff in this future. And great, and I think they did it right with this end year with him. him coming up to the main roster, because they could have did it wrong, because he's built up quite a bit. I think it's right so far.
They almost screwed it up with giving the title to Jey Uso.
I will say
That was stupid.
I would say I think they have, but I didn't like when they wouldn't decide on a theme song, because he had a lot of stupid ones.
Yeah. It took a while to get to this one, which is the best.
Yeah, there was the one with it just had this beat with it at the beginning, and just rapid beat going, man. I hated it so much. It was like,
they were trying to go for a Steiner line kind of throwback to his dad, but it wasn't working for him.
It's crazy you say that, because at one point I was like, did they change his song? And then I was like, did they change it again? Like, part of me was confused.
It got changed like 3 times.
Yeah, like I was definitely confused if he changed it or not, but like apparently they did. So yeah.
All right, and then Joe Monroe.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about Mariah May.
Well, you saved the best for last. Thank you, Jesse. So, Mariah May, someone who, from All In going forward, I felt like has grown up a lot in wrestling, especially with her title run. It's surprisingly, I know this is going to sound mean, but it's surprisingly becoming memorable, especially with the newer, with the newer rivalry that's coming up here pretty soon. And honestly, 2025, she may. I would say she win it again, but probably not. I would love to see someone else win this award, but Mariah May 100% deserves her flowers for this year, especially the second.
Absolutely.
Very, very intriguing.
And unlike Joey, who apparently looks up at the sky and talks to birds whenever he's talking about professional wrestling. But I digress.
You can't see where I'm looking. Calm down.
Whatever you say.
All right, next up.
How many awards are there left? I'm just so confused.
Men's Wrestler of the End Year. This is the last one.
I was so lost.
Konosuke Takeshita is mine.
Okay.
Shit.
Braun Breaker was Joey's. Cody Rhodes was Ty's.
Okay.
Whoa.
Solo Sikoa was Joe Monroe's.
He would.
Austin's was Cody Rhodes as well. And Will Ospreay was Eddie's.
Willie Bravo.
And that will conclude our awards, but let's talk about them. So, Konosuke Takeshita has had a banner year, winning the AEW International title, going to of course, being in AEW, TNA, NJPW. He's gone everywhere, done everything, defended it all over the world already in his short reign. He hasn't had it that long. But by God, has that man maximized his time with that title? Even before that, he was having incredible matches, especially that 3-way with Ricochet and Ospreay at Wrestle Dream. That was just face melting, as it should be. He had an amazing match at NJPW Strong Style Evolved versus Takagi and Tsuji alongside Jack Perry, even though the wrong people won, because I think Takagi and Tsuji should have won that. But I digress. It was still a great match, and he's going to have a great match coming up here at Wrestle Kingdom and at Wrestle Dynasty. So,
hey, I do have a question for you.
Konosuke.
I do have a question for you though, Jesse, because I really don't know the answer. With New Japan having all these like amazing wrestlers and stuff, why is it that WWE has like one guy that could fit into that criteria, and that's being Shinsuke? Why doesn't WWE ever reach out to like New Japan wrestlers who are from Japan and say look? I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's because of the lack of speaking English and stuff, but knowing Triple H, don't you think they would reach out and be like, we've never had a Japanese WWE champion. We want you to be the first.
Well, and see, here's the thing, is you're 100% right. And under Vince McMahon, that was a problem. He wanted people to speak English. He wanted that language or that barrier to not be a problem.
I get that.
But now with Triple H at the helm, that has changed a lot. And people like Kairi Sane or Asuka, who speak native Japanese and don't have as good of English, they can just speak in their native tongue, and you can still get that message across. WWE fought very hard to get Okada before he went to AEW. So that's just one person right off the bat that you could point to and say they wanted that guy. They had Kota Ibushi in the Cruiserweight Classic. For one reason or another, he didn't decide to, stay. But yeah, so it's not like they haven't wanted them. It's just, the forbidden door hasn't really been open that long. But Eddie, let's talk about Will Ospreay.
Well, when the main thing that got me with him for this half year or end year was the conflict he had with using the Tiger Driver and still putting on these classic matches when he was the Continental Champion. And then just like the match he had with Swerve, I don't know if that falls into the end year or not, but I feel like you see Will Ospreay go out there, he's going to give you a good match. That's just Will Ospreay.
All right, and Austin.
Yeah, man. So Cody, he's just kind of been, he's been the face of WWE. I mean, really doing a great job. Admittedly, I know we've talked a little bit about how we kind of think, his run with the title is getting a little bit tiresome. But I don't think that takes away ultimately from his performance and really just kind of being the poster boy and the face of that company for not just this past 6 months, but the entire year. So that's why he gets my vote.
All right, Joey.
So, Braun Breaker was going to be in my last pick, but I knew I wanted him for this pick because I don't know. It's so, and not counting Motor City Machine Guns, it is so crazy to see someone come up to the main roster and get pushed so high so quick. Now, the Motor City Machine Guns, they have been around forever. They've already made history. So them coming around, it was only a matter of time before people were like, oh, I know them, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, he got to induct his dad and uncle into the Hall of Fame. And from there on, he did amazing work with Baron Corbin and NXT. I actually love that tag team. And then when he came to the main roster, his first year on the roster, and he's held the IC title twice. There's a lot of wrestlers that don't even get that title once, and he's got it twice in his rookie year, and he's going to be going into the new year with that title. Breaker is, I believe they're going to put him up there in the main event with the Seth Rollins and the CM Punks, the Roman Reigns, whatever. But and this is a really high praise from me, but I am a big fan of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns as Paul Heyman guys. If there's one guy on the roster I can see being a Paul Heyman guy, Paul Heyman getting the corner of and really backing up after his time is done with Roman, I could honestly see it being Braun Breaker. Breaker's just one of those guys that you really want to look out for. If you're watching him now and you're saying, oh, I don't like the IC stuff, or I don't like this stuff with Lou and Kaiser, or whatever, dude, don't let that taint your judgment of him, because he is going to do some amazing things. And that's why he's my pick here, just because we have not seen anywhere near the best of Braun Breaker yet. We're just now, so to speak, dipping our toes in the water with him. We're just now being able to get a taste of him. Give it a year or so and look back at this episode at my comments now and tell me I was wrong.
All right. And then just to be clear, you guys have been here. You've heard me this whole time, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been
Yes.
muted. Okay. Ty.
Um, the the year as a whole, I feel has been Cody Rhodes' year. When you think about just the run he's been on, and what I'll stick with the half year for now. Which it's the fact that he pinned Gunter. He's been on this roll, and now I do admit that part of his title reign hasn't been the best, but this is just kind of reminds me of where like Bianca Belair was like a year or two ago or something. It's like, yes, some fans online or even us at times might complain about their title reign, or oh, they should turn heel, or be a babyface, but at the end of the day, it's like they're still getting high crowd reactions, or getting from the crowd, and it's still like working. So it's like, even though we may not like it, it's like I seen Cody like live 4 times this year, and it's just the energy that comes within when he comes out, and with his entrance, and just when you're watching his matches, is just crazy. So I think that just combined with the consistency he's had in this half year, and like I said, probably I feel like it's his year in general when you talk about the moments he's provided. But yeah, so that's why I chose
All right.
Cody Rhodes.
And then special guest Joe Monroe, take us home. The last award.
I love you. No, not really. But no, Solo, he's another one. Kind of like Murame. Grown into his own whenever he became the replacement tribal chief, as I like to call it. I was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. But, the more comfortable he started feeling it himself, the more I'm like, okay. Even after Survivor Series, that beatdown that they did, I forgot who it was, but they beat down a tag team, and he said, I ain't going nowhere. And that right there, I was like, okay, Roman just built him up to the next level. So that's why I picked Solo.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I will have to say, Jesse, I had a pretty good time here, even with, the Geico caveman himself, Eddie Wade, and yeah, that thing, Joey. It's been, I had a great time here on RPD. Ty and Austin, you guys were great. Thank you. Austin, don't feel bad about your dog. I love dogs. So that was really cool, especially when it was interrupting Joey. That was the best part.
I will admit that was the best part.
And Jesse, you've been great. You're looking very snazzy, if I may say so, in the red hat.
Trying to look like a real life poinsettia.
If I may say so myself, I look pretty snazzy with these sunglasses, a hell of a lot better than Joey does. So I will say it yet again. I'm the only Joe that matters on this show. Eddie, I will have to say congrats on winning the tag titles, but, I'm coming back home to TSW January 4th, 2025. I will be there. And Wade, you was not on my list. But after that little interaction at the Battle for Carson Rumble, gotta admit, kid, you could take a beating. So I want to see what me and you can do one-on-one. So anytime throughout the year when you're not busy with, your little hound dog Joey sniffing up your butt 24/7, meet me in the ring. I'm being a gentleman. I don't want to pick on you. I'm being a gentleman right now. Sometime me and you need to have that interaction. I'd love to see what you got one-on-one, kid. Joey, you can stay in the freaking back for all I give a crap, okay? Just sit there and shut up with the adults wrestling.
And I've waited until we were done with the awards for this, but I'm going to kind of speak my mind here now. Joe, you talk about coming back to TSW, coming on our show. Bro, nobody cares. Nobody wants you back in TSW. Nobody wants you on this show. If it was me, I would have had my dog as a guest before you. But you want to sit here and run your mouth all night, dude. You do not matter. You talk about Hornswoggle being jobber of the year. You are jobber of the century. You come out here looking like the green Samsung guy, and no one's interested in the gimmick. No one's interested in it at all. I earned this title in Ring Post Daily. You have a title that looks like you bought it off Wish. Everyone on here knows that I'm not the only Joe that matters, but I'm the only person on the show that really matters, other than Eddie Wade, my future wrestler, my future champion. By the time Eddie Wade becomes champion, you will probably be retired. Your show will probably have less followers. Matter of fact, the only reason your show has more followers today is because I came on it not once but twice.
It looked like it needs to be Joe versus
Ring
Joe.
Post
I
Daily
mean,
doesn't need you.
that's what I'm
TSW doesn't
sensing
need
there.
you.
That's
Your
the
Uncle
blood
Show
feud.
doesn't need you. Why don't you go find that person with the blonde hair that can't even see their face and have them be the host? Because I'd rather see that person host the show than you, and I can't even see their face.
Hey, are you done? Are you done?
Dude.
If that's the best you got, you're going to have to keep up with me, kid, because I can
I
dress
feel
you
like
down.
it's been
Hey,
Joe
shut up!
Joe all
Hey,
night.
adult is talking, kid shuts up.
You're an adult?
More of an adult than you'll ever be there, Baldy, so I don't want to hear it.
You in the TSW ring like a Make-A-Wish kid whose dream came true.
What?
Hey guys, look at me! I'm in a wrestling ring. Ain't it awesome? Ain't I, son? You ain't nothing. Calm down.
Oh, trust me, I'm more than something. Before you guys even stepped into TSW, that was my home.
Really?
And I'm finally coming back home.
Okay.
And I hope to God me and you have an interaction. I hope to God. Yeah, go ahead. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Let's hear it.
When I made money at Carson's event, whose stand did you come up to and say, "Would you like to sell my stickers?"
Actually,
and guess what? When I gave you that envelope of stickers back, guess how many were in there? The same amount that you gave me in the first place. You know why? Because the fans wanted other wrestling memorabilia. They didn't want to buy crap. Why do you think I didn't put Joe Monroe memorabilia on my stands? Because I wanted people to come to my stands and buy stuff. I didn't want to scare them away. Your logo is equivalent to dog crap. I don't want to sell that. I want to sell real stuff, bro. Your logo just scares people away. The RPD logo, Eddie's logo, my logo, the Brotherhood logo. All that stuff is money making. That's what brings people in. Your logo scares people away.
The Brotherhood Army logo is just a complete knockoff of the Banner Brothers. Great show, by the way. But
let me ask you another question. Just want to be serious.
Yeah, let's be serious.
I'm part of the Brotherhood. My wrestler, the greatest wrestler ever, the future champ Eddie Wade, is part of the Brotherhood Army. Why is it that Austin Michaels came and said, "I want both of you"? Eddie and who? Me. Why did Austin Michaels ask me to be part of the Brotherhood and not you? Because the Brotherhood means something. I mean something. This title on my shoulder means something. The tag title on Eddie's shoulder means something. You are meaningless. So if you would have joined, see, that's the word, meaningless. If you would have joined the Brotherhood, it would have meant less. TSW with it, TSW with you involved in it, means less. If I was Mike Murphy, I'd beat you to the curb, because you involved probably means less people. Just like if this episode doesn't get many viewers, it's probably gonna be because we had Joe Monroe's name attached to it. I am sorry to the fans that had to witness Joe Monroe on our show tonight. I feel your pain. I mean, talk about strapping someone to a chair and making them watch something 24/7 that drives them crazy. I feel you. This is what it was for me. And then I hear Joe Monroe all night long. Well, I thought. Don't you have to have a brain to think? You don't have one.
All right.
Well, hang on.
By the way, your
Jesse.
family name, does that really matter, bro?
Gentlemen, let's try to keep things civilized.
What the fuck? What the fuck did you just say about my family name?
You heard me. As a co-host of this show, I have rights, Jesse, and I just want to say your family name, your show name, your name, everything involved with Joe Monroe, does it really matter? Does it really have meaning? Because to me, it doesn't mean much. Your ancestors would be disappointed in the podcast host that you are.
Look at that, Joey.
Well,
you made him leave.
If that wasn't fate, I don't know what is. Now the show is watchable thanks to who? The RPD champ? This guy.
All right. Well, that will end our RPD End Year Awards for 2024 from myself, Jesse Henrik, Tyreek Ramsey, Joey Hudson, Austin Cochran,
Wait.
Eddie Wade. Yes, we know you're the RPD champion.
Yes, RPD champion Joey Hudson. That is.
Monroe is outside your house right
Yeah,
now.
and of course, Joe Monroe, who's en route to kick Joey's ass right now.
He'll have to
thank
get
you
past
very
my
much.
little ankle biter Jack Russell, and that ain't happening.
And we will see you all in the new year on the first of the year for RPD Predicts Every Main Roster's 2025 in 3 words or fewer.